So we go. Is the relationship over if the marriage proposal is declined?
First off,
If she said no to the ring,
listen. So I'm saying bye-bye.
No vagina is whack or dry. You just don't turn her on. I'm jugular out the gate, bro. Let's get into this.
Dating someone you can have fun with is really unmatched. That's in my top 3. If I can't have fun with you, I don't even know how this thing gonna work.
hey, bro, give us the other 2. Fun and what else?
Nah.
All right, no, don't worry. It's all good. What else?
That's why you can't tell your brother stuff in confidence, because they go,
Let's normalize bragging about women like this.
Hey, now.
go back. If I'm being honest, I feel like she started feeling the beat a little bit.
Are you guys brutally honest with your friends, or do you hold back in order not to hurt their feelings?
The honesty is not the brutal part. The brutal part is how the person perceives your honesty.
If you're dating a narcissist at Christmas, you had better run.
What a dealio. Oh, what the 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 dealio. What the dealio. What the dealio. Hey, Errol with this the pop locking on the handstand. What's up,
Yeah,
fellas?
damn. Oh, man. You know, another day, another dollar. Make them holler.
Man.
How y'all feeling, man?
Oh, man. I'm feeling it.
I'm sorry. Welcome to another wonderful episode of Maybe This Will Help, the podcast, huh? Don't forget the maybe, baby. We're 3, 4. Listen, some gentlemen are going to have an amazing conversation about the good, the bad, theAlimony. I was about to say some other stuff, but you know, hey,
And some other stuff. And some other stuff.
And some other stuff.
Don't even
just our point of view, our experiences, our love, our vulnerability. It's what we do here on Sundays, man. We're glad that you guys were able to join us today. Glad that you guys were able to take the time out of your day, the day after Christmas. Hey, won't he do it? To come chill with us, man, and have a good conversation. What's up, fellas?
What up? What up? What's the word? What's the word?
Hey, man. I'm about to get on the flight, man. I had, wanted to tap in, make sure I, had this good old conversation before I'm gonna be honest with you. I really wanted to have this conversation so I can marinate on some things on this flight.
Amen to that.
Really, you know what I'm saying? Like tap into, you don't really get a lot of, we're busy men and we don't really get a lot of me time to just kind of sit for 6-7 hours and it's not sleep. You know what I mean? So I really wanted to tap into that tonight, man. So I'm excited about this flight. Take little man back to Florida, and then I'm headed off to Chicago for work. What's going on with you, gentlemen?
Man, I thought you was about to say you're going to Bangkok.
No bang time in Bangkok, baby.
Just checking.
What's going on with you, Dublin?
Man. It is the day after Christmas, bro. I'm chilling, man. I took the day to just chill today. You know what I mean? Back to work tomorrow, but got another 3-day weekend next weekend. You know what I mean? So I'm looking forward to that. Mm-hmm. But man, I'm good, bro. I'm just chilling. I'm just chilling.
You with the apple.
Bro, I was biding my time because I usually like, oh man, this was highlight of my week and stuff. When I say this was a tough week, man, it was a tough week for me, man. If I didn't have one person, I had 20 people tell me, you feel off, bro. What's wrong with you? You feel I've heard off, I've heard disconnected, I've heard detached, I've heard something like numb. And I was like, man, I know what it is. When I tell you last week's therapy session, bro, I think one of you guys asked me, how was it? Oh, it was cool. It was the aftermath, though. I didn't know those questions were gonna hit me like that. But it was purposeful. It's towards the end of the year. One of the things he asked me was, have you made peace with everything that you've had to let go of? I was like, yeah. Like, nah, actually, no. And I
Nah.
pointed out one thing. And the more I thought about that question, I was like, how can you have peace if you haven't made peace? And that question just revealed to me decades of just sweeping stuff under the rug. I got to have conversations. I reached out to Carrie, I reached group text and told Carrie I wanted to have a conversation with him, and I ain't been able to have that. When I tell you that question took my capacity, bro, I was walking around kind of like just within myself. As my therapist told me to, he said, get within yourself and really process this. And this is something I normally do in private, but this holiday season, I decided I was going to do it in public because I'm trying to be more social. But between that question and celebrating my mom, my sister's birthday, and then looking over my grandma and stuff like that, I just had a lot on my mind, still trying to be social. But I was like, wow, this was a growing week. What up, bro?
When you sent me that message, I missed that.
No, I sent it in a group text. I sent it in a group text.
Oh.
Yeah, I sent
Okay.
it was probably like Monday or Tuesday. I sent in a group text, but I planned on reaching out to you. But I just, even when I saw y'all the other day at Dub House, man, I was just, when I tell you so many things just resurfaced from years and years and years that I want to resolve, man.
I didn't do it.
So this week was rough, but it was rough in such a way that it brought about, a certain amount of growth. And right now, I'm not pretending. And that's what I enjoy. The fact that I'm not pretending to be okay, to be happy, to be clear. Being authentic means that when you on your lowness, you show it in safe places where you can show it, and when you high, you show that too. So yeah, that was me this week. Processing so I can make peace. Huh?
I try not to show when I'm high.
Well, we know I can't hide it when Carrie's smoking and I catch contact. It's just it ain't medicinal for me.
Do you guys know that I actually quit smoking?
I thought it was medicinal though.
Yeah, but I like it was actually causing an issue. You know what I realized, to be honest with you? My therapist helped me realize this. I was smoking because I was not able to actually deal with, I felt like I was unable to deal with the things that were going on. It was becoming overwhelming, and it was my ability to sleep. And it went from being an ability to sleep, and it went from being an ability to not deal with, to realizing that, like I'm not in that place anymore. I don't need to smoke. Like there was reasons behind it. It was like because I have been smoking consistently after we got shot. And then I just realized, the traumatic things that have happened, since then, I'm not in that place anymore. And you really have to celebrate yourself and recognize what it is that you're doing and why you're doing it, and if it's necessary or needed anymore. And it just wasn't needed anymore. And it wasn't beneficial to my lungs, to be honest with you. You mute, bro.
I was on the road though. Did you see it? I was on the road.
Yeah,
I was going. I was saying it's so beneficial for us to do these check-ins with ourselves often to see if yesterday's strategy is still useful today, because sometimes it ain't.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but
Pretty dope.
I'm here in honor of our brother Mike, who's not here, who he's handling his business. As we talk about here on the show. In honor of him, he got me this shirt. Even though he don't celebrate Christmas, he got me this shirt with the Hulk wrapped in decor, accoutrement. Can't spell it, but yeah. In honor of him, man, I'm wearing the shirt that he got. He got all of us a shirt. I think he got us a shirt. Arrow got us something. I'm the only person that didn't get a gift for the circle. Still trying to figure that part out. But, yeah, I am the gift. No, but seriously, seriously though, man, I appreciate the things that y'all do.
This guy right here.
What you say is, if it's not apple cider vinegar, then it's apple. So I'm realizing where these lines are here. You understand? Oh, so we got both today. So this is why we're getting this. I got it. I'm here.
We just warming up. Fellas, what's up, y'all out there in the audience? Good to check in, chime in wherever you are reaching out from. We had a few people. I think, what was it? The Netherlands. I know we had some people from Australia. I know we had some other countries chime in. I forgot where they were from, but wherever you're from, man, shoot us in the chat bar. Let us know where you're representing from, where you calling from, where you checking in from.
No,
Don't do it.
Don't do it.
Okay. But
Don't do it.
just in case they no. Okay.
No,
I'm not gonna wrap myself in decor. That's
no,
fine.
no.
OKC, Oklahoma. That's home, man.
That's home in the
Um,
building.
As we do tonight's show, we want you guys to chime in, check in. We're not the only ones that's offering, insight of our stories. Maybe it'll help. Maybe something you'll say will help us or help somebody in the audience. So make sure y'all stay active with us in the chat bar because we're gonna chime in. But until then, fellas, y'all ready to get into this show?
Let's get into it.
We got a bunch of people from look, Oklahoma,
Georgia.
Hey,
listen.
Inglewood. That's right. That's
every
right.
time Arrow wear that hat, he want to perform.
Hey, hold on. I gotta tip my hat to that one.
Did you see the tip? Did you see the tip? Let's jump into this thing, man.
All right, let's jump into it like this, man. We're gonna start off. All right, let's do it like this.
CJ, if you don't stop smacking,
where's CJ at?
CJ, hither.
Wow.
Listen, good dad. Give one word.
Hither.
Hey, B Rush in the building, man. How you feeling, brother?
Happy holidays. Happy holidays.
Praying for you, man. My brother got COVID, man. But here you go.
Torrance by way of Inglewood.
Nephew, what's going on, dude?
Where do you want to sit?
Oh, they
What's
can't
up,
hear
man?
you. They said, "What up?"
Hi.
You ready to go home?
Yeah.
Huh?
Yes.
You ready to go home?
Yeah.
You want to leave me?
No.
He
I'm
gonna take you.
I don't know where I want to go.
said, "I'm confused. I don't know where I want to go."
That's right.
They just said they love you and they'll see you soon.
I love you too.
Fuck up.
All right. So I was gonna start with that, but in light of what CJ's came on here, let's change it up a little bit. All right, you ready? Here we go.
Let's go.
Every single relationship will get boring after you've been together for so long. Sometimes love isn't a feeling, it's a commitment to love every day, physically and emotionally. It's not always laughs, smiles, and fun. It can get hard. People tend to quit when it stops being fun.
Part of the job in a relationship is maintaining the fun. You date people because they are fun. I've never heard anyone say, "Oh man, she's everything, but she's not fun." Like there's no fun in her. The initial, even if it's just the initial spot, it's fun. And so what I believe is that maintaining that throughout the relationship is a key factor, because you're not going to always like the person. You're not going to, you may always love them, but liking someone all the time, that's not going to happen. But trying to maintain that element of fun, be it remember the things that you used to do, the sending the text messages, the sending flowers, the playful pictures, showing
laughing
up
at his jokes.
There are so many things that's key. Yeah, that's key. But what if they're not funny though, Donnie?
And they never were. That's not the point.
Hey.
That's not the point. It wasn't about comedic timing. It wasn't about the punchline. It was the fact that this person was just talking to you. Remember that? People downplay sense of humor. When you look at the studies, sense of humor is up there with sexual chemistry. Sense of humor, when that shifts and change, and that's no longer complimenting each other, man, that can change the dynamics of a relationship in a very drastic way. When you guys no longer have like similar senses of humor, laughter is important, man.
I think what's also important is creating the new. Right, because if you just stay exactly how you are, you always just try to stay funny, and you always just try to stay romantic, and you always just try to stay exactly how you are, and you don't take that time to just kind of evolve and create the new. Give them something different to look at. Give them something different to be like, oh, shoot, where did this come from? I like it, but where did I'm saying? Give them something new. Just evolve, because if you think about spending a lifetime with somebody, you can try to be romantic all day long. You can try to be funny all day long. You know what I mean? But sometimes it gets old and it gets tired. You know what I mean? So what are you going to do? Yeah, it does. It gets boring. It gets mundane. It gets, a whole lot of stuff. So it's like, okay, what are you going to do to create the new? Always evolve. And that's why you always hear stuff like, women dress up. They change their hair color. They put on a wig. They do different stuff that kind of spice things up. So I think that's the key. That's one of the key things for me that comes to mind is just, every so often just evolve. Just create the new.
You know how I always talk. Go ahead, Donnie.
No, you got it.
Go ahead. No, go ahead, bro.
I was gonna say, just adding to that, if you're gonna be trying new things, then you also have to be, I don't want to say mature enough, but healthy enough to handle rejection, because your
Right.
new thing may not hit like you
Right.
thought it was gonna hit.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But you can't, it's good to start developing ourselves now to where, oh, they don't like that. It's not the end of the world. All right, I'm just gonna try something new. They don't like that doesn't mean they don't like me. And I think that in some of the relationships I've been in, that was kind of what happened, because I didn't like something they were doing. Somehow they internalized that to think I didn't like them anymore. But it was really just this thing. And so, I've been on I've done that myself as well. And so that was the only part I wanted to add, bro. Go ahead.
Yeah, and then
Well,
be
actually,
open to something new too. I'm sorry, Gary.
I'm glad. No, it's good. I'm glad that Donnie said that, because that's what I was kind of going to tap into. Don't be afraid to ask your mate. If this, again, I always speak on the process of, these are the choices that you make. If you chose this person and you chose to make, this person the special person in your life, and you want to make them happy in some aspects, excuse me. The question of asking your mate what it is that they might like, or suggestions. You'll take suggestions from your homeboys, you'll take suggestions from your homegirls, but try asking your mate. It doesn't always have to be a blunt surprise. Sometimes it can be a pleasant gift. And when I say a pleasant gift, if she says she likes you with a full beard, grow your beard.
Bro, you already know the story, bro. My hair is long right now because me and my ex went to go see Aquaman, and she said, I want you to grow your hair like Aquaman. And I've been growing it ever since. That was about 2+ years ago. We're not together no more, but I still got the hair. But it just shows that willingness and flexibility. Now, in honor of this guy right here, where is he at? In honor of this guy right here, we have to draw the line somewhere, because if she tried to get Dub in some skinny jeans, it's gonna be a problem. That's somewhere you got to draw the line. You said try something new, bro. How do you know when you've done enough new stuff from your own personal experience?
So this is what I would say, right? So there's a couple different components to that. There's try the new, obviously, accept if the new is not, be okay if the new is not accepted, but also for the other person, be open. You know what I'm saying? Don't just, if somebody's trying something new, don't just automatically shut down without having an open mind. Say, nope, I don't like that, when like you haven't even experienced it. And and I'll say I'm guilty of that myself, because there's certain things that I'm just like, nope, that's not my thing. You know what I mean? It's not my thing. I don't like this. I don't like that. And I'm working on trying to be a little bit more open on certain things. Like for me, I'll say one thing. One thing for me is I don't like to be around a lot of a huge crowd of people, right? Not because I'm antisocial. It's not because of anything. It's just sometimes when I'm around a huge crowd of people and I'm just looking all around, because there's so many people I'm looking all around, I get dizzy, right? I get dizzy from looking at everybody. I get dizzy. So I have to look down on the floor, or I have to just take some time to just close my eyes and just chill. You know what I mean? Or I can't just look at everybody because it seems like it's too much stuff going on. Just like if it's a whole bunch of flashing lights, you know what I'm saying? It bothers me. So with that being the case, like my thing has been, I really don't like to be around a lot of people like that in these big crowds. And I never express that, you know what I'm saying, to too many people, because it's just my thing. You know what I'm saying? It's like I felt like I didn't have to express it. Right. But I'm trying to say, okay, you know what? Even though that's not my thing, maybe I can try to get to some of those events and just like kind of, you know what I'm saying? If it's too much for me, just kind of pull myself away and just say, okay, you know what? I just need time to kind of relax for a second. So I'm working on it.
Let me ask y'all a question. In your previous relationships, any of them, what caused it to become boring? If it did become boring, what caused it to become boring? And I'll answer after you guys chime in.
Go ahead.
For me, it was the interest in where each other's lives were going. For me, I was entering into a stage of becoming a bigger DJ, and my idea of quality time didn't consist of going to another club. And she was, I want to be out. I'm a party girl, and this is what I want to do. And I'm like, cool, I get it. And I'm with it, but I need a balance. I need a balance of you and home. I don't want to be at home by myself while you out, even though it's not a trust factor. It's not an issue of anything like that. It's just I like some quality time. If I wanted to be single, I'd be single.
Yeah.
What you got,
I
Doc?
would say, what was that?
So what you got?
So I would say it was a lack of interest in things that I liked, but always I have to do what she liked. And it just it's like, dude, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm trying to be compromising, and I'm trying to, do some of the activities that you like, and even take them into consideration. But then if it's something that I like to do, you know what I mean? Oh, that's not my thing, or this or that, and stuff like that. And it's just like, okay, well, when do we get to experience the stuff that I like? When are you going to even just try the things that I like? So when it came to that, it's just like, what's the point? You know what I mean? Because it's always me giving, 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 and I can't even get you to enjoy something that I like to enjoy. So it start to get boring. It start to get tiring. It start to get upsetting, and I just have to say, you know what? It just don't work. And when I get to the point where I'm just like, okay, my okay means I don't give a fuck no more.
What about you, Doug? I mean, Donnie?
Wow. Well, after what Dub said, man, so I got two instances. One for me was it was exciting in the beginning. We were dating, and once we became exclusive, it got boring because, like we say on the show, nothing can exist without an environment for it to exist in. So that fun was existing because we were so focused on each other. And then in a relationship, her focus kind of turned towards everybody around us and how they were responding to us in the relationship. And then like how we were being perceived and outside influences when we were just like in our own bubble, man. It was crazy dumb. Just the energy, the fun, the stuff we would laugh at, the things we would choose to do. Yeah, but her background, I don't know, man. Her background was, I want to say people pleasing, being concerned with the community and the people around it. But when we got together, it's like she had let go of that and, kind of reverted back to it. And she wasn't the only one to blame. I started doing the same thing. I didn't challenge it and meet it with a conversation like, yo, let's just focus back on us. I was like, you know what? You ain't paying attention. My attention going somewhere too. You know what I'm saying? So I contributed to it. And now there was no environment for it to be fun. Everything was like super serious and the jokes weren't the same. They weren't hitting the same because it was more and more conversations about, oh man, what about this person today? And why did you do this? And oh, why did that happen? And it just became like, even like before bed, like having these weird conversations where it used to be like fun pillow talk, sending text messages back to each other. Oh, look at this video I found, so, that was tough, man. When like they say, boats were built to go on water. The only issue is when the water gets on the inside, right? That's how it sinks. And so we let way too much from the outside get on the inside. And it just became a chore.
Let me ask you a question. Before you guys parted ways, did you recognize your part of the destruction in that as well? Before
we parted ways?
Yes.
I was aware that I contributed, but not to the degree I see it now.
Okay.
Back then, yeah.
Would you say that now that allows you to look at things different in all of your relationships, not just your boyfriend girlfriend relationships? I mean, like in your friendships and your you're part of how of what you contribute. Are you quicker to look at you and change the things that the way you maneuver in these things?
Yeah, I went to the other extreme. I became too quick to look at me, and I just started focusing solely on me. And because somebody told me that the only person that can fix it is the person that solved it. I mean, the only person that can solve it is the person that broke it. And so I was in situations where I didn't cause the issue, but I started looking at myself like, okay, I caused it so I can try to fix it. And I wasn't holding the other person accountable. And now I'm a little better at it, but I don't really feel like I got a good handle on it. I'm a little better at it. Sometimes the people in your life can really help you to identify, if you can trust them, they can help you identify like, yo, this is the part that, you're contributing to this. But, sometimes that's a sensitive, it takes tact to have that kind of conversation with people.
You know what? That's a pure fact. I think that I've gone less in speaking to even you guys in regards to certain things because I am trying to find my balance of tact, because I don't always want it got to a point where I didn't want to be known as the person who I wasn't lacking tact, but it was I was blunt. That's not, I didn't want to be that anymore. So I think that I've lessened what I communicate to people these days because of that. Not that has anything to do with anything, but
I know, I understand that. I feel that blunt and direct, those are all relative terms to whoever you're talking to. I keep hope alive, as the brother said, to people who get you, who understand you, who properly translate you. If you haven't found those people yet, keep praying for them. You know, keep working on you, because maybe you did find them and you just are, conform to the ways of the world. But man, it's just when you find people like that really get you and understand you without a whole bunch of extra, hold tight to those people.
I do believe that you guys get me. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, what I find very important is just being honest, right? And being honest means first being honest with yourself. Like sometimes people, we hold on to this lie that we told ourselves so long ago, and we start to believe that lie. You know what I'm saying? So now when you say it so pure and so clear, and you feel like you're telling the truth because you've told yourself that lie so much. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, okay, when you say it, it's like normally when you tell a lie, you kind of have a little funny feeling about it. Like, you're lying, but you feel kind of, you know what I'm saying? You feel a certain way. But then once you start to get used to telling yourself a lie and you start to believe that lie, now you don't even have that feeling anymore. You fabricated this story and just everything is just all just, you know what I'm saying? Now you're telling the truth and now you exaggerated 10 times over what the story really is. So I just find that, you got to be honest with, not just with everybody else, but be honest with yourself and understand that, number one, if there's an area that you feel like you need to correct within yourself, by all means, correct it. If it's something that it just don't work because of somebody else, then, you know what I'm saying? If they need to correct something, then they need to correct it as well. But I think like the important piece for me is just understanding what truth really is. If something bothers you, if something makes you feel a certain way, if you just don't feel right being around a certain person or a group of people or doing a certain activity, you don't feel right doing it. You don't feel right doing it. And you don't have to conform yourself because somebody's trying to make you do something.
Let me ask you a question, bro. We'll go back to the relationship part. You talk about being open to evolving, doing new things. Brad Rush said the new can't be an individual affair if it's a relationship. I think embracing the new is just evolving as people, as a couple, as a unit. And so that evolving part, when you're with someone, if you're really partnered with someone, then the evolving should be hitting both of y'all, right? Now, I feel like that's what he's saying from that point. So when you're talking about doing, being open to doing new things and being honest, what if you find that the person that you're with, you don't really like the direction that they're going, the things that they're trying, and it's just not working anymore? That goes back to that age-old question. Do you try harder, or do you just, at what point you say, you know what, no, maybe this is not where I need to be anymore?
Well, the first thing I believe is you have to have a conversation, right? Because if you just automatically just try to detach because, you feel like, oh, this ain't working for me. Oh, I don't like this. I don't like, if you haven't had a conversation about it, because it's like too many people find it so easy to just say, oh, this ain't working. Let's split up. Right. And some people, it's just so easy. And I feel like within American culture, especially, it's just so easy to say, you know what, this ain't working. Let's go our separate ways. We're growing apart. We're growing in different directions, yada, yada, yada. So let's just split up and just do our own thing without even having a conversation and say, okay, you know what, we made these vows to say, okay, you know what, for better or for worse. Everybody grows. Everybody evolves. If you're just going to stay stuck in the same place, it's almost like you're just sitting in the house, sitting on the couch at the same spot. If you do anything in life, you're going to grow, you're going to evolve, because your mind is going to start to change. Your mind is going to start to shift. So with that being the case, you have some type of expectations that yourself and your partner is going to grow, is going to evolve. So with that being the case, it's like, okay, let's have these conversations. You know what? I'm starting to think about this. I've been thinking about I want to travel. I've been thinking about I want to take up golf. I've been thinking about I want to do this and I want to do that. Certain things in life, you're definitely just going to evolve. It's inevitable. But I feel like the important thing is to have a conversation of that evolution. If you don't have a conversation of that evolution and you just try to evolve on your own and just say, well, this is what I feel like doing, I'm just gonna go, and you leaving that person in the dark, it's like, damn, you don't even give me a chance.
And so you're saying that there's something? Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead, bro.
I was gonna ask, is there something wrong with that? What if you feel like that's what you feel like you need to do and want to do, and you just bounce?
But that's, once again, if you feel like that, then that's not a relationship. That's just thinking with a single mind, right?
And maybe that's where you are.
If that's where you are, that's where you are. But it's not fair to the other person that you're gonna try to say you're gonna make that commitment to that person. Because see, this is the thing: if you want to be single and have a single mind, stay single. But if you're going to commit yourself to a person and say, you know what, I'm committing myself, we're committing ourselves to each other, you're getting away from the me for we. And if you don't want that we, then you might as well stay to yourself, because that's selfish.
What was you gonna say, Kerry?
That was it. That was cool.
I think I got something I want to put up now, because that made me think about all the stuff that's under the rug. I think that this goes back to us communicating. Sometimes people have communicated it not the way that we thought.
Mm-hmm.
When did you say that? When I was doing this, when I was taking up the trash, you know what I'm saying? When I was doing the extra chores, when I was like that. Sometimes people communicate in ways that we don't really understand that they're trying to say something to me. Sometimes, like even with friends, we don't even know when they're crying out for help, because they're not literally crying out, help me, but they're showing a lot of signs. And unless you've learned how to read them, then you really won't even know what they're crying out for. This is why I always tell people, educate yourself. Everybody who talks is not communicating.
Absolutely.
Everybody who's in a relationship is not being intimate. Everybody who's going to church is not serving God and worshiping. Like, there's skill sets, communication, relationship. Those are skills that we have to learn how to do. We wonder why things aren't working. When did you take time to sit and read a book about it? Sit in a weekend or a workshop or a course about it? Like, these things aren't just innate inside of us. And when you're taking it serious, in my opinion and in my world, that's what you do. You go and you educate yourself on it so that you can become more proficient at it, because it doesn't just work because you want it to.
Right. Well, and you know what? And I'll say, in addition to that, educate yourself. But I'll also say, in addition to that, you could be a great communicator, but if someone don't understand what you're trying to convey to them, doesn't matter how great of a communicator you are. So with that being the case, it's like, okay, cool, I can communicate what I'm saying. I believe that when you're trying to convey something to someone and someone is trying to understand what you're saying, sometimes it's a good practice for that person to repeat what you said to them in their understanding. Like, okay, so is this what you're trying to say? Just so I can be clear, is this what you're trying to convey to me? Is this what you're trying to say? So then if they're right, you can say, yeah, that's exactly what I'm trying to say. Or no, that's not what I'm saying.
Hey,
this is what I'm saying.
You want to know what's funny about that? I've done that with a few of my friends, and I will repeat back exactly what they said. Like, nah, not like that. I'm like, say what you mean.
Right. Right.
What was you about to say, bro?
I think that a lot of people, no, I was saying, mean what you say, say what you mean what you say. Yeah. I think a lot of times people are in fear that what they're saying is not going to be agreed upon. And that's a big fear for most people, is that you may feel a certain type of way about something, and you want the person that's closest to you to back you up. You want to feel that camaraderie in your conversation, in your emotions, in your feelings. And the adult part comes in where you understand that everybody's not going to agree, everybody's not going to understand. But the child, the inner child in all of us wants to be supported, wants to be understood, and wants to be wants progression. After you say it, you want to feel like somebody's going to go like this, keep pushing you in that direction. And I think that that's the fear of most relationships, is that it's going to be bad if your partner doesn't agree. That's not the case. That's where the partnership comes in. Right. That is where we communicate in the difference. And I think that's just a big fear that some people, I think that's something you have to understand before you even get in a relationship, that everything is not going to be peachy.
Right.
But because it's not peachy doesn't mean it's not a fruit.
Right. You know what? I think you also, in the midst of saying something, I think you should not hold back because you afraid of what the response is going to be. right? And that's part of speaking the truth and just being honest with yourself. Like if you with your partner, you should be able to say any and everything. You know what I mean? Express exactly how you feel, what's going on in your mind. If you feel in a certain way and say, look, babe, you pissed me off. Like I don't like that. You know what I'm saying? You did some shit in front of your friends, or you did some shit, or you assumed that I would do this and this and that, and it bothered me. It made me feel upset. You know what I mean? So I think sometimes people are afraid to express their true feelings because they're probably worried about how their partner going to accept it, or they're worried about hurting their partner's feelings.
Let me tell you then. I'll tell you because we don't have to hypothesize around that. Because I'm one of those people who, as much as I, have learned about communicating, it's not always my first go-to.
Right.
My therapist has been pulling my card on that. He's like speak up on it, and I'm just like, I always give him pushback. I'm like, I don't want to. I don't want to invest in time, and I can't. It's not a fear of I won't be understood or like that. It could be some trauma from the past of just like this is gonna be draining. This person is gonna be defensive or super emotional, and it's gonna take me down this path I really don't want to go in. I'd rather just wash it, and he's been talking to me about why do you feel that way, and it takes me back to my childhood. You know what I'm saying to you? So I think that I just wanted I didn't want to interrupt you, but I also want to just add some personal life experience from that. And he's like, man, have these conversations with these people. Like even when I told you guys about the relationship I was in with my ex, and she would say, oh, people would offend her and stuff, like say something to them. I'm like, for what? They don't even matter. But something needs to be said, and it's a struggle for me. It's a struggle. Honestly, I'd be willing to wash it. China said something that I'm struggling with right now. She said business mindset. As an example, would you just walk away from a business that you worked so hard to build? No. Most will do their best to find a solution before they just throw in a towel. We're in a world where money is more valuable than time, and time should be valuable first. You can get money back, you can't get time back. I'm in a place to where I'm just like, all right, I'm quick to say it was for a season and wash my hands of it. And of course that could be healthy in certain environments, but I don't think it's a solve all to every situation. That's something I'm personally working on.
Right. That's understandable. That makes me think of sometimes those hard conversations has to be had in order to release, in order to grow, in order to just get it out. Because sometimes you just hold on to certain things, and even after that person's long gone, you still hold on to it because it never got a chance to just get out. You know what I mean? And sometimes those can be the things that hurt so much, and it's like damn, why am I so drained? Why does it seem like the slightest thing get to me? Because my luggage is so heavy. You know what I mean? And that's something that I've experienced for a long time. There's certain things that if I experienced in my life, and I just wouldn't say anything to nobody. You know what I mean? I wouldn't say anything to nobody about it. Then I finally said something, even though it embarrassed the shit out of me. Right? It embarrassed me bad. You know what I mean? Even though if it's stuff that I couldn't even control, and it embarrassed me real bad, I still had to get it out to say, okay, you know what? I'm holding on to this, and every day it just pisses me off. Every day it's tough to have to deal with it because I'm holding on to it. So I feel like when you can have that conversation, have that conversation. It's best to have that conversation, no matter how hard it is. It may be draining right now, up front, but if that conversation needs to be had, sometimes you may take a little drain right now in order to not carry something on, or not feel like later on you're going to implode because you're just holding on to a lot more.
I was gonna say, Gary, you building something up to say?
No, sir.
Oh, okay.
Just listening.
I was gonna say, something I learned is that not every conversation needs to be had.
True.
You said something earlier. You only have the conversation if you're interested in staying in that place and seeing it grow further. Not every conversation needs to be had. And so discerning between the two definitely takes the help of the Holy Spirit. Definitely something you got to pray about, because it's further investing. And that's been the struggle for me. Why continue to invest? And you have to ask yourself, like, do you want this thing? And be honest. Not are you willing to give it up? Do you want it?
Right.
Do you really want it to become something more than what it is? If that's the case, then you need to invest. If you're truly done with it, then it's really going to show in your emotions when you even tell people about the story.
So that's something I was going to ask you. So with that being the case, like, sometimes it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to have that conversation with that specific person. Like, just like you said, if you're done with it and there's no point in having that conversation with that specific person, but I'm asking, do you feel like it's important to just have that conversation with someone so you can just let it go, period?
That's what I'm saying. Sometimes it's relative. It depends on the situation. It really depends on the situation. I don't think there's a blanket answer for any of that. But I wanted to bring this up because we talked about this last week. I think it was last week. Carrie and Mike kind of went back and forth on this topic a little bit, but along the same lines, how you feel about this? He who dares not to offend cannot be honest.
Yep.
It's still intact. It's still in care for who you're speaking with. And that's why I was saying that I've become a little more quiet than what I used to, because the people that you really care about and the people that you love, especially in the recent of my circle being different, meaning you guys are my family, you know what I mean? This holiday season was very different. And in that, you realize that the people that are most important to you have to be concerned with how you offend them. Yes, you want to speak your truth. Yes, you want to be honest. But if I'm going to correct or think about the way that I talk to my boss in corporate America, I'm going to think about the way that I talk to the people that I love. Whether I'm telling the truth, whether I'm telling you that you're, if I'm telling my job, the manager of my job that the way that they're conducting this progress and whatever it is that's bringing income sucks, I'm not going to come out and say that. So why is it that I'm thinking about the way that I'm conducting myself when it comes to someone who's only paying bills, not someone who loves me and is helping in the progression of my life? So I think that tact is, go ahead.
Look, right along what you said, to answer that question, I think that for me, again, personally, sometimes you forget the value of friendships. That's why I've stopped using tact. Sometimes you forget the importance of these relationships and what they do, add the value they add to your life. And so you stop investing in the essentials of it. You invest in work because you get a reminder every 2 weeks. Every 2 weeks, you get a check to remind you why you're showing up here. If you don't pay attention to your relationship, you'll forget why you're showing up. And then eventually you'll stop showing up the way you used to show up and ultimately stop showing up at all. And I think that that's the part that it comes down to, that being offensive part. Like, I don't think you have to be offensive when you're honest, but you have to be willing to. Especially, I think that those conversations come up where I got to be honest now. I got to be honest now. Not that you weren't being honest, you were telling the truth before, but I feel like I have to be honest now is the result of not feeling heard before. I've been saying this, I've been telling you, I've been explaining. All right, so now I'm gonna be real honest. And we already talked about the difference between being honest and telling the truth. Truth of the facts. The truth is the reality of the situation. Honesty is how I feel about the facts and how I feel about the truth.
What if the person, or i.e., me and Kiana was having a conversation about something that we had talked about years ago, and where we both were mentally years ago with something that I said to her, it wasn't able to be comprehended at that point. It wasn't what she heard was what she was able to understand at that time. So if I'm having the conversation with someone in an evolved space, then I should still concern myself with my level of frustration versus what I'm trying to convey.
And many times I feel like I think, and I've seen other people, we think that we are. Like, I just learned a new skill set in this book called The People Factor, and I'm applying that to this relationship. But that person has read that book 30 times and they read a different book. And so they understand, or their standard is different. I think that I just learned this new thing that's powerful, and this person just may not be on the same page. And again, that I think I just be real willing to be like, okay, cool. All right, I'm gonna go this way, you go that way. And learning some things you need to try to fight for. And you guys already heard me have that conversation about, like, fight for what? But again, I recognize it's not something I'm just like, I told you, I don't want to get stuck in how I am at 41. I want to continue to evolve and grow as an individual, as a citizen, as a child of God. And so even though that's the way that I've been, I'm still like, okay, is it, I want to challenge it. Is that the best way? Do I need to learn how to fight for relationships? And if so, which ones? And if I find out which ones, how?
So this is what I'll say to that. And I'm speaking from experience on this particular point. Sometimes I feel like it's important to fight for certain relationships because sometimes those relationships are all that you have. Sometimes people are important to you, and sometimes you can be in this mode where it's just like, look, man, I didn't try, forget it. You know what I'm saying? We can't see eye to eye, blah, 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 forget it. But you don't realize how important these people could be in your life. I have the biggest issue with detachment. And it's so easy for me to detach. It's so easy for me to detach because I spent the majority of my life not having. And then the people that I do get close to, they're snatched away from me. So when it comes to other people that's in my life, it's so easy for me to detach because it's like, okay, well, what's the point? I already know what it feels like to walk this life out alone. So what does it matter? But
yeah,
with that being the case, there's a lot that I'm missing out on that I need, that I can get from people and that I need to get from people. But because I'm so easily able to detach, I don't get that. I don't get the things that I need from people because it's just like, oh, well, whatever, you know what I'm saying? I'm so used to doing this on my own and these people piss me off. I don't need them anyway. I can do it. I've been doing it. So whatever. But when it comes to me, it's just like, okay, I know certain things that I realize that I need. But if I'm so easy to just detach, it's just like, you're never going to get them. Then you're going to keep on complaining that you don't have them. And then you'll never know the joy of what it's like to have it. Because sometimes we just have to go through this. We have to go through the storm on certain things. Sometimes you even going through the storm to realize that it's important. And I've been through a few storms and I didn't even realize how important certain things was until I didn't even have it anymore. And I'm like, oh, damn, I really needed that. I was acting crazy. I was willing to fight for it. Was it worth fighting for? Sometimes it feels like it is. Sometimes it feels like it's not.
What you just said was extremely important. I had a conversation with my mom this week, and I was reminded at one of my low points, God said that you'll never know what's within until you have to live without. Losing the things you care about is not always a bad thing. It might be exactly what you need. It might be exactly what you need. Sometimes we're so sleep. We're so sleep in our way of thinking, and we're so, I speak for myself. Sometimes we are in love with an idol and we don't even recognize it. Sometimes we're so deep in unhealthy selfishness and can't nobody even wake us up. Can't nobody tell us. We won't listen. We're deep into it. And sometimes it takes something that dramatic to happen for you to wake up and be like, oh, nigga, what am I doing? Because this is, again, what the conversation I had with one of my mentors. It was like, you cannot afford to lose yourself trying to prove yourself.
Right.
It's at some point it becomes unhealthy. This fighting for all these conversations, at some point it becomes unhealthy to you. And at some point it starts to affect the other relationships that are working around you. And this is why I don't want to do this without God. This is why, even what Amber is saying in the chat, I got to keep taking this stuff to the throne, to the cross. God, should I pursue and should I do and should I communicate, or should I just let it go and leave it in your hands? Because it's not a cure-all for every situation. I'm learning that it is wise to take it to God, because you'll find yourself in the midst of something that God is like, you don't need to be a part of that. Not the conversation, not any of it. Is run its course, leave it be, and let it come back around again when things are better. Right. Or it could be like, drop everything and invest in this 100%. You're going to need it.
Right. I believe that. I definitely believe that. I don't think nothing is a 100% cure all for any situation. Yeah. I think every situation is specifically tailored. Whatever it is, every person that you deal with is specifically tailored. You can't, you know what I'm saying? Your relationship with Mike will not be the same as your relationship with me, will not be the same as your relationship with Carrie. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Every situation is gonna be completely tailored because there's different personalities. There's different, streams of events.
Carrie,
Go
when me and you decided we was gonna have this bond, how long did we decide to have it for?
I don't think we set a date.
We never do. I don't know many people who do, besides in marriage, till death do us part. But in regular, I don't think people really do. And the
Nigga,
truth
you
about
stuck
it
with me.
is, huh?
I said, nigga, you stuck with me.
That's exactly what it feels like. Like real talk. That stuckness is like we both said, even when we didn't want to, stuck.
Yeah.
We've separated for, after I got my tattoo, things went different directions. But
I love you, man. It's
when
okay.
when God keeps bringing you back, I feel like that's something you got to pay attention to. When God keeps bringing you back,
Being honest, the relationships that I have with, and this is not excluding Mike. Mike is close and new to the circle, but in the circle, 100%. But the relationships that I have with you two gentlemen alone have orchestrated how I deal with a lot of people and how I'll deal with a lot of things, because we've had so many different elements and so many different moving parts to our own relationships. There's been highs, lows, in betweens, and it has taught me so much in growth, even in times where I felt like it wasn't necessary for me. I mean, like you were saying that, God, when God brings something back so many times, it's got to be important. There were times that I wanted to walk away. There were times where I felt like I wasn't appreciated. There were times where I felt like I wasn't needed. And the conversations have come where I've had a conversation with Donnie where I was trying to talk to Donnie about Donnie, and I realized something about me. I realized that where I'm upset with Donnie was really my fault, because of my lack of communication, or because of my lack of trust, or because of my lack of something. And it put me into a different space. So when I met that with someone else, I was able to deal with it and recognize certain things in certain places, and how to have certain conversations, because everybody knows my first go-to back when was anger, and that pulled me out of that. So these things are really, really important, in being honest with self, and where you are and what you're doing in certain relationships.
fellas, I'm gonna do something real quick. I know Carrie, you got to bounce in 5. You guys mind? It's in alignment with what we're talking about. I just want to put up this other post to carry this conversation forward. Is that cool?
Let's go.
Yeah, go ahead, bro.
All right, check this out. Everything you say should be true, but not everything true should be said. The reason one more time. Everything you say should be true, but not everything true should be said. And the reason I bring this up, because we're talking about relationships, and we're talking about ghosting in relationships, or abandoning relationships, or fighting harder for them, or relationships getting boring. One of the things that I've always struggled with is secrets. Deliberate ones. Deliberate, like secrets, for the purpose of keeping distance, or for the purpose of this unseen agenda. I know people have personal things. I know some things are between you and your mate, between you and God. But secrets have always bothered me. You guys know me. I be telling on myself. I be telling on people. My family told me, you get on here, you tell too much. Nobody want nobody else something happened to you as a kid, and all, like you tell too, you talk too much. You tell too much truth, or you not even truth. You just tell too much of your story. But I do have an issue with the secrets that I'm working on, because I know that secrets are necessary. But how do you guys feel about that part? Do you think that secrets play any role in the relationship becoming boring, or with people not wanting to fight for a relationship anymore, or just that distance that happens?
I struggle with that because this guy that has been in my life for 20 plus years made this statement to me when I was a sponge. And he said, everybody doesn't need to know everything, and that includes me. And for a while, I dove so hard into that. I wasn't quite sure why it was said. And I don't know. Now that I look at it, it was definitely the environment that we were in.
One of those profound things that expands out of that environment. The person said, like, ah, damn it. Yep. Yep.
So it definitely, that's something that I struggle with, because I'm not sure. Like I feel like I'm a lot like you in some cases, Donnie, where I share too much. You know, I want to know if I'm going in the right direction, if I'm, and there are certain things that I share that I probably shouldn't, or there are certain things that I probably should share that I don't. So that's really a big struggle for me. Like, really big struggle for me. Dub.
So well, you guys know me. You know, I'm a very private, personal person. Like, I don't tell everybody everything. There's some people that I do tell everything. I feel like with my circle, I'm definitely more open, and I tell my circle stuff, even if it's something that's embarrassing to me, even if it's something that's gonna make me feel a certain way. My circle, you guys have seen me cry, seen me break down, seen me hurt. I'm never going to keep anything I'm never going to keep a secret that's going to affect somebody else, that's going to take a chance on hurting somebody else.
What does that mean?
Meaning, I'm not going to keep something a secret that if you found out that it would hurt you. Like something that I should tell you.
Oh, so you would tell it?
Yeah, I would tell it. I said I'm never going to keep a secret from something. You know what I'm saying?
Like that's your brother's baby. That's not your baby. Something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of times, honestly, man, some stuff I keep to myself. It's not even that it's a secret. It's not even that it's a secret. It's not even that it's something that you know what I mean, that I'm hiding, that I'm putting away. It's just sometimes it's just certain things that I just don't even want to deal with. You know what I mean? Sometimes it's not that it's not that it's a secret at all. It's not that I'm trying to hide it. It's not that, whatever the situation is. Sometimes it's just like, damn, I'm just trying to figure out, okay, how am I gonna deal with this?
I got you.
Sometimes I'm expressive because it's like, okay, I don't know how I'm gonna deal with this, and I'm like, okay, bro, what do you think about this? Or do you think I'm selfish for this, or do you think I'm, what I'm saying, wrong for thinking about it like this? It's just because it's something that I may be pondering, and I just want some input. But as far as secrets, I don't think there's anything that I can't tell you guys. If I don't say anything, I'm probably just not thinking about it. But it's probably not a big deal for me. But as far as anything else, yeah, a lot of people, I don't tell a lot of people stuff about me because it all goes back to my bank. You know what I'm saying? To access. Not everybody deserves to get inside my vault. You know what I'm saying? Some people just need the teller access. Some people don't, you know what I'm saying? They don't need to get in my vault.
I don't never want to see your vault, bro.
Nope.
Lock that down.
Yeah.
That's what the kids calling it these days, huh?
Hey,
vault.
I don't know what it is, bro.
Right.
But it's just like what Kizzy is saying right here. Everything ain't for everybody. That's where discernment comes in.
I'm gonna say it like this. As much as I would, love that everybody would ascribe to that philosophy, people like me struggle. I would prefer someone to tell me, hey, there's something I don't want to tell you because it's personal. I can take a statement like that, but when I know there's something you need to tell me and you won't even speak on it, you won't even tell me I don't want to talk to you about this, I struggle with that. And ain't nobody got to change nothing they do because I struggle with that. That's something that I got to work on. But as I've explained it to people before, it's something about opening up that makes something about that makes me feel some type of way about being in a relationship with someone, because as much as I share, there's so much about me that people do not know, even with everything that I share. So when people open up to me, I take that super personal. Mm-hmm. I take that access as like we blood, you know what I'm saying to you, because that's what really separates me from people. is what I've told them about me. That's how I qualify people in my life, by what I'm willing to tell them. And I have to get over the fact that other people don't operate that way. And I shouldn't try to make them, because then I'm being a manipulator if I'm trying to make them operate the same way that I operate with life.
I feel like if you doing something behind somebody's back, like that's sneakiness. That's like, dude, why do I even need you if you're gonna do something behind my back? You know what I mean? Like, even case in point, like I've even come to you and say, hey, bro, you know, this young lady is interested in me. You know what I'm saying? Blah blah blah. Is it okay if we talk?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like, and if somebody that you knew, you know what I mean? But because it was somebody that you knew like that, I even came to you first and just say, hey, you know what? This is the deal. Is it okay? Because I'm not gonna sit up here and do something like that behind your back and you know what I'm saying, be all funny style like that. That's just not me. So I feel like if somebody's doing something sneaky like that, that's funny style to me.
Kerry, I know you got to go, bro, but any input before you bounce?
I think that it's all in. I told you this is something that I struggle with, because I'm unsure of what you're supposed to say, what you're not supposed to say, what you should keep. Because again, this goes back to the conversation before. When you say things to people, sometimes you want that support behind you, and it's not always going to be that support. Because I mean, and just from personal experience, I've said something to people before and they're looking at me like the me prior to, or how I would have done things prior to. And so now you're reacting to me in the fashion of what not what it is. And so there's an uneasy moment, you know what I'm saying? So you don't know whether, because you know what you know about yourself. You know where you've evolved, Donnie. You know where you've evolved up. And when you approach or you get to certain situations, everybody doesn't know your advancement. So it's kind of, you kind of struggle with going, well, am I supposed to say something? Because if they say this or they feel this way about this, how am I going to feel? Is it going to alter how I feel? Is it going to alter how I move? Is it going to alter the situation in general? And I mean, that's just a struggle for some people.
I think that this is the issue, though. What Ruzan is saying here, that's how you say her name, Ruzan. What Ruzan is saying here is share what's necessary for each situation and never keep a secret for the purpose of deceiving others. The issue is that we don't always know what's necessary. I think that's the issue for me. You don't always know what you
feel is deceiving.
Exactly. Sometimes you feel like this is, in all honesty and sincerity, like I'm doing this a healthy way. We really don't know until we take a chance, and we don't know what people to take a chance on unless we really are operating from a divine discernment. You know what I'm saying to you? This is why, for me, I feel like relationships are incredibly powerful, but can be incredibly tricky at the same time. I don't care if it's a mother, daughter, or brother, sister, or a romantic relationship, man. Trying to do that thing without God's insight, without God's participation, it's gonna make that thing a lot more challenging than it needs to be. When he says that my yoke is easy and my burden is light, I feel like that really does apply to relationships, because that's one of the most powerful things you can have on this earth, man, is a relationship with somebody else. But the enemy tries his best to separate us and isolate us. That's why he whispers those lies into our heads and tries to get us to act out on them in our relationships with our children, with our brothers and sisters, with our spouses.
Yeah, buddy.
That's interesting. Amber said, I don't feel safe around people who keep everything to themselves. And I can kind of feel that. But at the same time, we ain't got to be close. You know what I'm saying to you? If I'm close to somebody and that person decides to become very personal and private, I be honest, like I start to, okay, well, I change the dynamic of the relationship. I might take back some of the keys I gave them, because this is a mutual sharing of openness. I'm open with you, you open with me. And I still don't know if that's manipulation or not. I feel like, I feel like it's healthy reciprocation, but that's the world that I come from. Am I sharing because I want them to share back, or am I sharing because I'm just honestly, innocently a sharer? Don't know. Still working on that.
So I'm just looking at Amber's comment. I don't feel safe around people who keep everything to themselves. And that's one of those things to where, for me, I'll tell you what you need to know. If you don't need to know, if it's none of your business, I'm not going to tell you, if I don't feel like opening up to it. So everybody around me, if people don't feel safe being around me because I won't open up and share, Like there's a lot of stuff that I won't open up and share because it may be embarrassing to me, right? It has zero to do with, you know, how I feel about you or how our relationship is, but it's just certain things that I'm trying to still work out. You know, it's certain things that I'm embarrassed to talk about. So certain things don't need to be displayed when it comes to if it's something that in regards to me. So I feel like sometimes I feel like everybody should have that uh, security to be able to tell people when they're ready to tell them, right? Especially when it's personal stuff. You know what I'm saying? Especially when it's like personal stuff from them. I feel like everybody should have that, you know, have that say so to say, okay, you know what? Now I'm ready to share this. Because before go ahead.
I'm gonna say, so is it fair to say that if you're not willing to share, then if that person decides to back up, that's okay too, right?
That's okay to back up. It's okay for them to back up, but it's just like I said, sometimes you may still be trying to develop a relationship, right?
Yeah.
I've had somebody tell me, well, you know, if we're supposed to be this, then you should be able to tell me everything about you. And I'm just like, you know what? Certain things I'm not comfortable talking about right now because it still hurts. Right? There's certain things that I don't want to relive the pain. I don't want to relive the pain and everything. And just because we're trying to get to this level, you know, I'm just not ready to relive that pain. So since you want to know every single detail about me, you don't care about the pain that I'm going to have to relive. So it's certain things is like, okay, you know what? I'm really not ready to have this conversation because it hurts too much. And then that person decided to just completely back up and say, okay, well, we're supposed to know everything about each other. And since you can't tell me all these details, then, you know what I'm saying, it's not going to work for me. I had to say, okay, if it's not going to work for you, it's not going to work for you. But for the simple fact that you can't even respect the fact that talking about these things actually hurts me, and it makes me feel a certain way, and it makes me relive something that was really traumatic for me. If that's all you worried about is you needing to know, then how much do you really care about me?
And so we had this conversation before, and I was telling you about this girl that I was dating, and we kind of had to go separate ways for a similar reason. I wanted to know, I just wanted to get to know her. She wanted to get to know me intimately, you know what I'm saying, sexually. And I'm like, what was your childhood like? Tell me about your parents' stuff. She did not want to talk about it. She wanted to tell me, no, I don't want to talk about that stuff. And I think it was similar, like some traumatic stuff, but I didn't feel like I was going to open myself up to someone who I didn't even know. And she was trying to get to know me in the ways that she felt comfortable with. So while you're saying, if that's all you care about is getting to know me, then it's like both people have a standard and neither one of them are willing to respect either other's standard. And so really we could separate amicably and nobody be to blame. Like, you know, I didn't respect your shit. You didn't respect mine. I feel hurt that you want to open up. You feel hurt to open up. And everybody can just be like, okay, cool. This ain't gonna work. So we could just go separate ways without anybody wanting to feel the other person feel guilty or to be blamed for it, because people feel just as strong as that person. Go ahead.
How do you find out if that is one of those relationships that you should have dove more into?
Great question. Who got the answer?
Have
Jesus.
no damn idea.
Jesus. Who, Errol, look inside your hat. Is there an answer in there for that question?
Jesus is in the hat. Ha!
Look inside your turban. That's close to where Jesus was at, inside that turban.
I didn't want to be involved in that. I just took mine off.
Bruh. How do you? Okay, let me ask you. Okay, let's ask a different question. In same line, Carrie. How do you know what to share on this show?
Whatever you feel comfortable with.
I'm about to say, I think in conversation, because I really take these conversations as it just being us, people happen to chime in. I hear that. But I do understand it. I feel like I look back at the show sometimes and go, fuck, I shouldn't have said that. Like, why did I, but I realized that it was for a purpose. It was for a reason. It happened. And maybe it did help someone, you know what I'm saying? And that's what happens is I look at that and then I literally look at the title and maybe it helped.
The way I determine what I'm gonna say on here is like when we pray before we come on the show, I always mention the word healing. I've seen in the evidence of my life, I've seen what it takes to get healed. And it takes a very strong degree of vulnerability. And so if I feel prompted, because I'm praying that God is guiding me, and if I feel prompted, I'm saying it whether I'm comfortable or not. Because either I'm a heal or somebody's going to heal, and I just want to be a vessel for that. That's how I determine it. I have made one adjustment per a friend of mine, not to use other people's names, because it's not just your story, Donovan. That's that person's story too. So, try to change the names at least to protect the innocent. And try to be innocent though? And try to be a little bit more vague so people can't pinpoint. And because I had one person say, "Don't have me on there looking like no punk." I'm like, "Damn, that's my bad. People shouldn't even know I'm talking about you." So I should be a little bit more vague out of respect for these relationships and people that I care about, that I had these interactions with. What y'all think about this? Oh, you got something, Kerry?
Oh, no. Go ahead.
DTF said, "What I look at in regards to sharing is what benefit will it possess if I share this information with you? Not everything needs to be known." And here's my issue with that, DTF. Who's to say that we are the best person at determining what will benefit someone else? How do we know? Have you ever said something, didn't think it would be a benefit, and it turned out being a benefit? Like sometimes I feel like in my own emotions, how I personally feel emotionally about a situation causes me to not to be the best person to determine if it should be said or not, because I'm trying to protect something. When you're in a relationship with a friend or a loved one or anything like that, like your interest is not you and it's not them. Your interest is the actual relationship. It's like parents. Their interest is, what do we need to do to protect the child? Not protect me, not protect you, protect the child. In friendships, you're trying to protect the actual friendship. And so sometimes I just need to say, man, is it going to benefit the friendship for me to say this? Not if it's going to personally benefit me or the other person. Like, does this need to be said? Even if it's going to end it, is it something that needs to be said? Is it weighing me down? Is it keeping me from sleeping at night? Just my 2 cents.
Gentlemen,
you got it here, bro.
Yeah.
No. Boom, 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 boom.
You know what time it is. Hey, Reverend, give me my cash. You want to
listen. I hope I don't have to go to. I hope I don't have to do like no penalty box in hell for that.
Hey, when Kerry get to heaven, he got to answer to God about why he did a skit at the strip club and he dressed up as a reverend named Reverend Give Me My Cash. First name Reverend, last name Give Me My Cash.
And the whole song. Say, "Give him the cash." Everybody say, "Give him the cash." Yeah, it was bad. It was
this
bad.
Day.
Donnie, the one who said, "Do it."
Yep.
Mr. Cavi always had to dodge out of these things. It's okay.
I don't know what you're talking
I had
about.
to wear a dress. That was a horrible thing. There was some horrible skits.
We did funeral skits.
We played with a lot of things we should not have. What did you see? Something just,
bruh, I don't know why I just saw that it said Redbone. I thought she said something about, remember Redbone?
All right, and I'm out, ladies and gentlemen. Gotta take the son back to Florida. Wow. I want no parts of this K9 and Redbone conversation.
Yo, those are two of the homies from back in the day, boy. The club, man, we don't talk much about the club, only when it's relevant. That's another topic that, if you need to know, we'll share. I've had to not share so much. Speaking of, I have finished my third book, the one entitled The Stripped Club, talking about how I went from being Prince Charming in preschool to being a stripper named Good Bar, and how everything led into that whole process, man. Is hopefully God will allow me to release it in 2022. I got 14 chapters good and ready to go. Yeah.
Before I go, man, love and respect to one of my, I guess, he was a friend. I did see him. We did talk a lot when he came to the club. I didn't tell you that Tomar passed away. Irresistible.
Oh shoot!
He passed away about 2 weeks ago. And I called you I called you, and I think you were at work when I called, but it was one of those things that just made me realize, like, you know, where we've come from. When you made mention earlier about, you know, did we put a date on this, and we didn't, and it was just like, it's been so much, and so much has happened, but hey man, I love y'all. Like, it's okay to tell people you need them. I need y'all, you know? And I think we've had these conversations, this whole hour of conversations about these conversations that we've had. People, tell the people that you need them. Sometimes you may not have anything else to say beyond that. I could say a whole lot right now, but sometimes you may not have anything to say behind it. But it's okay to tell people that you need them, because you could also be walking up to my brother said something after I got out the hospital last year, that he could have been saying that entire conversation that he had with me to a picture, and it's set with me. And I just, you know, I don't know who I'm talking to right now. I don't know what you may be going through, but it may not look the way you want it to look. But if you need them, tell them you need them.
Shit, you was talking to me. Love you, bro.
Love y'all, man.
Handle your business.
Love you, bro.
I didn't want to leave you out of it, but
down.
even if you want to contribute to maybe this will help the podcast, whether you even if you, brother, on the show want to contribute, here's our cash app. Maybe this, if you love what's happening here, listen, I'm gonna tell you something, people. Honesty ain't free. This honesty cost. It ain't free. So I'm just kidding. Totally jokes. I love you, bro. Handle your business, man.
Love you too.
Hey,
I'll reach out. I'll reach out to you.
I definitely will, man. Talk to y'all soon.
Yes, sir.
All right. All right, ladies and gentlemen, on Real Talk though, you guys know this is a labor of love, so this is what we do. Cash App, maybe this will help, maybe this will help. $, maybe this will help. You can go there, $5, $10, whatever you want to do. If you're asking what is this money going towards, it keeps us up and running. This platform that we on StreamYard that we communicate with you guys through isn't free. The upkeep of the website that we're creating isn't free, and all the merchandise and stuff that we're getting ready to launch in this next year isn't free. You know, we want to create a community. And it takes capital to do that. So those who have contributed, thank you so much. We appreciate it. And even if it's not money that you can give, if you have a service that you want to provide to our listeners, shoot us an email at maybe this will help the podcast at gmail.com. Let us know what you do, and we'll announce it on the show. And not just promote your business, but let people know, hey, you're offering a discount for people who watch the show, or you want to offer a free service for, you know, the first 2 people to hit you up, whatever it is. Reach out to us at our Cash App or at our Gmail account. Maybe this will help. Maybe this will help the podcast at gmail.com. All right, bro. You ready to get to the second half of this show?
Let's get into it, bro.
All right. Let everybody out there in the audience, look, we want you to jump in the chat and tell us what's been the best part of the show so far for you. We want you to put in the chat, because when people go back and watch this show later, they'll see it in the chat, and maybe that'll be something that helps them, or maybe there's something they can look out for. So drop in the chat what's been your favorite part so far, and tag somebody who needs to listen into the second half of the show. We had some fellas chime in the beginning. We know you guys are still watching. Tag some men too, man. We want to continue to grow our male audience because honestly, we all need some help. Before we move on to the second half, Ruzon said, speaking of books, Donovan D. Donnell, I bought Before the I Do, and a friend of mine came over and snatched it up before I could start it, and she loves it. She has yet to return it. Speaking of no returns, you got to buy another book because wow, that's tell your friend to reach out at DonovanDDonnell.com. I would love to know why she loves it so much. I'm interested. DonovanDDonnell.com. Tell me why she loves it so much. If you really, I don't even know how I feel about Ruzan, because she always calling you chocolate. I'm almost willing to send her another book. Actually, you know, tell Errol to send you a copy of his book. He got a copy.
I got you, Kizzy. Don't even trip. I got you. This guy right here. Hey, don't be a hater, bro.
Nah, she Aries though, so it's all good. Ruzan, appreciate the support. Thank you for even buying it. And tell your friend to holler at me, and hopefully she'll get a book back. Because I love to talk to people who read the book, and you know, Give them give them more insight. Yeah, I probably do. Yuck. All right, bro. You ready to get into this?
Let's go, bro.
All right, cool. We got a video coming up for you. Let's start with this one. Man.
Please don't go. I've been dating this guy for about 7 months, and today we were hanging out, and he asked, "Why don't you have a boyfriend?"
Did you get it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Did y'all get it in the audience? Did you get it? Did you get it? Why it was so funny? Listen closely.
Please don't scroll. I've been dating this guy for about 7 months, and today we were hanging out, and he asked, "Why don't you have a boyfriend?"
He like, nope, not me.
Just because you've been dating someone doesn't mean that that's your boyfriend. Dub, has anyone ever mistaken your investing of time as for a relationship?
Yes.
And how did you correct them? Did you ask them why they were still single?
No, I didn't ask them why they I didn't ask them that, but I did ask when did we become a relationship? When did we become, boyfriend and girlfriend? And I asked them that because it started off, that person was like, she wanted to date, but she wasn't dating exclusively. Right? So whenever and I'm just like, all right, cool. We hang out, you know what I'm saying? We do, we don't. And at some point in time, because we were spending time together, she just assumed that, okay, we're in a relationship and this is what it is, but never even had the conversation with me that she wasn't even dating them other guys anymore. So I never even took her serious. We just, like I said, it's just what, when we hang out, when we do, we don't. So yeah, it has happened to me before. And I had to correct her, but and I tried to do it tactfully where I didn't hurt her feelings, but I had to let her know, like, wait a minute, hold on. You was dating Billy Bob and Hank over there, you know what I'm saying? And now you just assume that me and you in a relationship because you like me more than Billy Bob and Hank? No, it don't work like that.
This goes back to just saying it. Like what made you, whatever made you think that? Why didn't you say something earlier? Like this goes back to one of my friends told me about how they grew up in a household where so many things were just, it's unspoken. It's just unspoken. And it's like, damn, that's dangerous. Because the things that you speak have power to make things clear, and clarity allows people to invest more deeply and be more intimate, and that allows people to have true relationships, and that allows people to expand capacity. It goes on and on. It happened to me before too, when a girl, was kind of assuming that, we're in a relationship stuff, and I was like, here's the downside of that for me. This is kind of how I explained it. I said that if you are assuming this, or you're taking this as us being in a relationship, you're robbing yourself of a true experience of a relationship with me. You're robbing yourself of the experience to really be pursued. You don't have to finagle and trick me into, because we've, been hanging out so long, we're in a relationship. Like, no, like, let's have a conversation about it. And that's in that situation I was in. I was more of a go with the flow. I've been in so many situations. I've been in situations where I've been like strategic by the book. Here's a plan. And I've been in these go with the flow situations. That's when I happen to be one of these go in the flows. Don't worry about the title. We're going to, we kind of just going to see, and that's kind of how I was at that season of my life. But at the same time, coming to this agreement within yourself about what you and another person are is dangerous, man. And it could be unhealthy to that connection. It could be detrimental to you in the end, especially if you haven't taken time to see if that person even feels that way. And like I was telling her, like you robbed yourself of an opportunity to truly be pursued. It's like to be pursued and be liked by me. Like, because when I'm really pursuing or interested in someone, I behave and stuff differently. So now you think this is how I am when I'm in a relationship, and it's not. This is how I am when I'm kicking it and just going with the flow. And I can't put all the blame on her. We probably should have had an even deeper conversation. But I tell you, man, I was in that season where I just wanted to have fun. I just wanted to experience something. I already wasn't having sex, so it wasn't about sleeping around with other people. I just kind of wanted this adventure to unfold. And sometimes people can agree with you in the onset, and at some point, it becomes heavier for them and they change their mind. They just don't communicate it. And I think the moral of this story is you need to communicate, or the person might end up asking you, why are you still single?
I think communication is definitely important. But one thing I find very difficult when you all of a sudden put titles on things is how sometimes people will change.
Yeah.
You know, you put a title on something and say, okay, well, we're boyfriend and girlfriend now, or we're this now, and all of a sudden it comes with a lot more. Like that person stopped being the person that you liked about them. Like there's certain things that you may like about a person, you know, and then once they get that title, all of a sudden things are supposed to get way more serious, and we're supposed to be right here now, and this is supposed to be like this. And I was like, wait a minute, you completely took away the person that I liked because all of a sudden now we have this title, right?
Yeah.
Now the expectations are in the play because it's like, okay, well, as boyfriend and girlfriend, we're supposed to do this, and this, and we're supposed to spend this time with each other, and all these holidays we're supposed to spend together, and all these birthdays, everyone's supposed to spend this time together because now we have this title, you know, and all the fun stuff that we used to do. You know, you lost that spontaneity now because now everything has to be planned now because we're in this relationship. So sometimes people completely change because of a title, and that's something that you have to be very careful with.
And the crazy part about that is, bro, I've experienced that, but it's hard to tell who's gonna change.
Yeah.
It's nothing. I haven't found anything in the onset that's going to tell you if that person is going to change. And when you said that, it made me wonder. I wonder, did I change when I got different titles? And I feel like I did, but did I change the part that really made it? I guess the first thing I want to say was fun, and I think that it goes like back to getting a promotion at the job. Like, it is good that you understand that you've been given a bigger responsibility. It's good to understand that you've been given more access. But shit, like if you're really able to handle it, is you've been given opportunity, and sometimes you give somebody that title, and within 2 weeks you got to take it back. Like that was a probationary period. You don't handle that title well, that responsibility well. And I think that I put a post up on Facebook a while ago. It said that we know how to start relationships, we just don't know how to stop them.
Right.
And I think that that's something that we have to learn how to do. It's okay to give somebody a position and then find out that they're not a good fit and tell them, no, I'm good.
Right.
That's okay. Like, that wasn't a good fit. Like, I think that there have been people I've dated that I made a better friend for. And I should have stayed in the friend place. We should have friend zoned each other because that's where I excel. I saw you grow and blossom better as a friend than as a boyfriend or as someone you were dating. And I think that that's something that we have to be mature enough to hear, and also mature and responsible enough to say to people.
Absolutely. I mean, you can't if you get a promotion based on something that you were doing or the person that you are, just because you got that promotion doesn't mean that what you were doing has to stop or it should stop. Or, you know, the person that who you are is like, I'm giving you the promotion based on who you are and based on what you were doing. Now all of a sudden that you got that promotion, that don't mean those things should stop.
Isn't it crazy though? Like, from experience, I'm thinking about first time I spoke at my church, and my pastor passed me the mic. And I told you on the show before, to told you the story. He passed me the mic, which was access, a promotion, a title, like he about to be a speaker at the church, and he immediately took it back. And he looked at me and he said, "Be yourself." And then he gave me the mic again. I feel like there's something about that could be translated into these situations where we go from liking someone to dating someone to being exclusive to someone to getting engaged to someone to, you know, marrying someone. Give it to them and give it back. Be yourself. Because it's something, I don't know what it is about me or about other people, that one of the first things we do, we abandon our identity to try to conform to whatever we think needs to be in that space.
Yes.
Forgetting the fact that I am the one who earned the spot. Right. Being how I am.
Right.
Why do you think it's so easy or so quick for us to just abandon ourselves just to conform? What do you think that's about, man?
Sometimes I think it's like what you feel should be done in that situation, when it's like, okay, I'm given this title now, so within this title I'm supposed to be like this, or I have to act like that. And it's like the person who gave you that opportunity and that title knows exactly who you are. They know how you act. They know how you perform. They gave you that title based on these things. Now, obviously, with anything, you want to grow, you want to mature, but you don't want to forget what actually got you that title. If hard work and dedication is what got you that title, now because you're the boss, don't forget about the hard work and dedication. Don't become lazy and just like, I'll do it when I get to it. When you're in a relationship, if being loving and caring is what got that person to open up to you, don't stop being loving and caring because you got that person now. Don't feel like, oh, now, what I'm saying, as a woman, because, you were a certain way, now all of a sudden now you have to adopt the traits. I'm trying to be my mama and tell me what to do. No, don't do that. Same thing as a man. Don't feel like you have to adopt a trait and say, okay, woman, you got to do this and blah, 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 blah. Just like we talked about last episode, there's a difference between leadership and, trying to make somebody do something, right? So you just don't forget what actually got you that position. Don't forget what got that spot.
Check this out, though. Maybe they never knew. That's why it looks like they forgot. I think sometimes it's my responsibility to tell the person what it is about them that I like so much. Yeah. Maybe I need to highlight that more. This goes back to what we talked about, how we do check-ins with people we love or people we're in a relationship with. And part of the check-in is me just telling you what I really like about you in this space. Sometimes we abandon it because we don't really know if the person likes it or not. They never said they really like it. You know, so we're like, okay, well, I don't really see them respond to this. And sometimes we feel like, well, me smiling and me saying thank you is enough. When we start to recognize that, it's almost like, bro, you in Italy and I'm in Belize and I'm gonna come visit you. And the first thing I have to realize that we speak two different languages. And so I'm gonna walk with a certain sensitivity and a certain kind of patience, learning not just your culture, but your language. Every person you meet is a whole different country. They're a whole different world. And I think that sometimes I've been guilty of just walking in assuming they communicate like me, they understand like me, they know what my body language means, and I'm just gonna operate like, it's all good, like boom, boom, yeah, you understand, when really that's not the case. I think that if we keep that awareness in mind, that person is totally different from me, they have a whole different upbringing, and they see life a little differently and communicate a little differently, I walk with a little bit more patience in trying to, or a little, not even tolerance, a little more patience in trying to understand and make sure what's being communicated is clear and that they know what I like and I know what they like.
You know what? And that's part of communication, like being able to tell somebody what you like and what you don't like. One thing that I usually say, if I'm dating somebody or talking to somebody, and even my friendships too, I say, you know what? I appreciate this about you. I like this and I like that. You know what I mean? It's sometimes certain things is just so easy, or I'm just such a simple person that I don't need all this grand stuff. I appreciate the simplicity. I appreciate the fact that you don't stress me out. I appreciate the fact that you accept me exactly the way I am. So, that's one thing that I do try to make sure that I do speak up and say certain things that I appreciate, because one thing that I don't like is I don't like for somebody to try to censor me, and I don't like somebody to try to tell me that I can't be who I am, because, I know how to conduct myself in different surroundings. You know what I mean? I've worked for a law firm. I've worked construction. I've been around different spectrums. I've been a place where I'm wearing jeans and a t-shirt to work, and I've been places where I'm wearing a shirt and tie to work. I've been to hood parties and I've been to galas. So, I know how to conduct myself in different environments. So, like, the biggest thing is if you try to tell me who I can't be, that's one of the biggest things that I really don't appreciate. So, I with that being said, I try to be honest and I try to tell people, like, look, you know what? I really appreciate you being like this with me. I appreciate you accepting me. I appreciate you not pressuring me. I appreciate you accepting me for who I am.
And as we continue to say those things, man, I think that leaves very little room for misinterpretation. Mm-hmm. We got to look at this chat though, man. It's blowing up over here. Portia said something really interesting. She said, growth is constant. Life is ever changing. In love, it should be expected that tomorrow won't be the same as today. Mm-hmm. Alone, you aren't the same daily. So in a relationship, it's not fair to expect a person to be the same as they were on their best day. Absolutely. God loves us as we are, even when we are not, even when we are at our worst. Can you extend that same grace and have that heart, have the heart of a servant with the person you're interested in? It's a process, and God had given us the blueprint. I think that the ability is there, but sometimes the desire and the willingness isn't. I think God gave us, we have the ability, but it's that willingness to be that way. I feel like if we like the way a person was, and I can say this from experience, if I like the way a person was, I liked everything about this person, and if they started to drift away from it, I don't initially think grace. I initially think, okay, find somebody else who can now be that thing that I like that you were that you no longer are. And I had to grow out of that because I wouldn't want that done back to me. But I have to be honest and aware that I do it and that it's a negative trait in order to address it through therapy or through workshops or through reading a good book on, man, how to preserve what you really care about. Because maybe some of that drifting away from it or that changing in a way you don't like, maybe some of that was your fault.
Right.
Maybe it's the environment you created. And so I really appreciate that insight, Portia. Did you want to comment on that, Dub?
Yeah, I would say, that's a part of what I was saying earlier about being completely honest. Sometimes we expect perfection from the person that we with, but then we're not even looking at ourselves and see we are raggedy. Sometimes we just looking from. I'm serious, bro. Like sometimes we looking from the inside out, and we looking at everything that other person is doing, and we not even looking at ourselves and seeing how raggedy we are. Like we expect this person. Oh, I expect you to be like this, and this, but you not even being like this, and this. Like you expect this person to be like this glow, this shining person that's just always attracting you to them, but you're not giving anything to attract them to you. It's like I want you to be everything that I want you to be. And if you slip up, then be like, damn, why do I want you? Blah, blah, blah. But you're not even taking the time to look at yourself and be like, damn, I'm asking for all this from this person. But in actuality, if I look at myself, I'm pretty raggedy right now.
Yeah.
So am I doing what this person wants me to do while I'm expecting them to do this, and this A, B, C, D, and all of the above, and I'm expecting them to be this perfect person? Am I doing something to show them that I'm trying to give them everything that I'm expecting them to be? And sometimes we don't. Sometimes all we see is this, all we know is what we feel and what we're looking at, and we don't even pay attention to what the other person feels and what they're looking at.
Yeah. Well, I put something up on Facebook a while ago and it said that be patient with people because you never know how many generational curses they're trying to break.
Right.
I think one of the places that people are, and somebody said this earlier. I want to find it real quick. It was about the promotion. Man, I think she said it was an insecurity. Did you see that one? Okay, yeah, it's right here. She said, could it be an insecurity about your promotion? Do you deep down inside feel that you don't deserve the new position? And what you just said made me think about that comment from Carrie. Sometimes I've been witness to myself that you are most triggered when you're making a move of faith that concerns the heart. I've seen it from personal experience and watched other people. That's when you're triggered, it shows what you've been sweeping under the rug. It shows where, the lack of development is, where you haven't been doing the work or where you have. Triggers are revealing. It's almost like, you push that button and then that the door opens up and everything that you either had or didn't have in that closet is going to be revealed. And I think that when it comes to matters of the heart, that's why it's so important that you prepare yourself for whatever it is you want. If you want the promotion at that job, then get with somebody who can mentor you and start showing you what pressures come with that title and how do you maintain your truth and your identity in those places. If you really want something, you prove that by preparing for it. You don't just wild out and do whatever you want. And then when you get the promotion, you think, oh, because now I had a title, I'm going to be different. I think that's one thing I think a healthy way to deal with or confront any insecurities that might sabotage you once you get that promotion.
I think the way I look at it is matters of the heart are so important and they're triggered because matters of the heart are tied directly to emotions. And emotions range from happy to sad to joy to pissed off to all these things, and it just seems like matters of the heart, how you feeling in your heart usually dictates your emotions. And that's why I feel like it's so important to be in control of your emotions. Like I put a post up this week about emotions and choosing to be happy, because sometimes it's like what the Bible says: out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. Right. So whatever it is that's in your heart, a lot of times it's just it's directly connected to your emotions, and how you feel about a certain person or certain things is just going to always come out. Sometimes you can't even control it. It shows, like your countenance shows it, right? Your face just automatically shows when you're excited, when you're overjoyed, when you're trying to hold it back but you're still so overjoyed, or when you pissed off, or if you feel in a certain way, you know. So since it's directly tied to your emotions like that, you have to really be aware of whatever it is that you're doing, whatever it is that you're saying, whatever it is that you're thinking, what's actually coming across to you. Because at that particular point, I feel like whatever it is, it deserves a response and not a reaction. You on mute, bro.
So I was gonna say, here's my struggle personally with that. Remember, me and you had this conversation about trying to have like a rational conversation with a drunk person.
Right.
Like, why are you arguing with a drunk person about what's the responsible thing to do right now? They're under the influence.
Right.
What I've had to come to understand is that emotions release certain chemicals into the body, and those chemicals and those hormones are influential. They're influencers.
Mm-hmm.
And so oftentimes it's hard for me to have a rational conversation with myself, let alone someone else, when I have mismanaged emotions.
Right.
Remember, emotions are biological. Feelings are mental. When they say emotions are biological, that's your biological response to whatever's going on around you through your five senses. You have an emotion. Now, the feeling that you have, the feeling is something that you choose as a response to that emotion. And when I'm mismanaging emotions and my feelings is just whatever, and I'm letting those feelings lead me, I'm under an influence that makes me deaf and blind. I can't really hear and see anything because I'm underwater. And I found myself making the worst decisions in relationships, the worst decisions in business, when I didn't properly manage my emotions and manage the way I was feeling, and didn't put my feelings in the proper place. I a little bit disagree. I don't think I can control it, but I do think I have the responsibility to properly manage them.
See, I feel like feelings are a direct response to your emotions. I think you getting, you know what I'm saying? You feel something with your emotions, and then from there you directly have a feeling about something. You know,
Yeah.
Somebody, you know, make you emotional, they piss you off, or this and this and this. So I feel like a feeling is a direct response to an emotion. And I feel like sometimes, even if you have to just take that time, I feel like you do have some type of control. You're not in control so much of what happens to you, but you are in control of how you respond. Right. So for me, a lot of times somebody may say something to me and I may feel a certain way and I may have some emotion, but based on who that person is to me, I'm not just going to say whatever it is that comes to mind, because I have to say, okay, you know what? I'm going to respond based on who that person is to me, not based on what they said or did. Because if I respond based on what they said or did, I'm going to go left and I'm going to tell you, go suck a dick in the alley somewhere and hope to have piss drip off on it. You know what I'm saying? But if I respond to, you know what I'm saying, who that person is to me, I'm serious. If I respond based on who that person is to me, I'm going to say, okay, you know what?
You're gonna keep going? That's just like that. And
I am. It is what it is.
Wow.
I mean,
were you thinking about a conversation that you or someone when you said that? Because you got real passionate, like a memory came to your mind. Wow.
I'm just saying, bro. I'm using that as an example to say that, you know, if I just respond based on what somebody said or did, you know what I'm saying, it's gonna come off. It can come off way crazy. You know what I'm saying?
Check this one out, bro. So just in alignment with what you were saying, I wanted to put this up just real quick. It's something that I created for my clients to get them to understand why we do what we do. It's called How We Process Life. And so it starts with what you see. It goes through the personality filter, and then it goes into this collage. That means that whatever you see, you're already deleting, distorting, and generalizing it. You're not seeing it all. You only see in certain portions of it. And then you compare whatever you think you see to stuff you've seen before, and then you give it a meaning, and then you give it a story. And then that's where your feelings come into play. And then that's how you have your action and your response. I can send that to whoever wants it, but it really helps you understand why am I doing what I'm doing? that whole diagram helps you reverse engineer every choice that you're making and
Your library.
where it came from, how it came out, how it came about to be that way. When someone raises their voice at me, I'm only interpreting certain parts of it. I'm deleting, distorting, generalizing what they're saying. I'm usually just focused on their tone. And now I'm like, this tone is crazy. It reminds me of when my dad cussed me out when I was a kid, and that meant that he didn't love me, and that's why he never came back. And from that, now I have this story, and now I feel abandoned because you're yelling at me, and I don't love you either. And now I'm gonna act out. Like all of it. We understand that happens in a split second in our head. It helps us understand why it's important to go back and heal.
Right.
Why it's important to have these conversations, why it's important to work on our personality filter, which is highly influenced by the movies we watch and the TV shows we watch and the music we listen to. All of that is affecting how you filter life. It's going to remind you of, oh, you know, all these Mary J. Blige songs I heard. So no matter what a nigga does, you're going to feel like it's supposed to be heartbreak season because that's all you listen to.
You know, that's crazy. It just makes me definitely just go back to what you taught me years ago, bro, about, you know, your library being your filter. You know, what you've experienced in the past, man, and now everything that you've experienced in the past, everything that you go through in the future has to pass through your experience, through your filter, and your filter is your experience. You know what I mean? So now whatever somebody says, if they tell you, you know what I mean, the sky is blue, and somebody told you before, no, the sky is actually black, and you have that in your library, anytime somebody tell you the sky is blue, you're gonna be like, no, it's black because this and this and this and blah blah blah. And it's like, wait a minute, hold on. You know, sometimes you need to go through and you need to clean your filter, just like any other filter. Sometimes filters get clogged. They get, you know what I'm saying? You need to change your filter. Sometimes they get clogged. Sometimes they just get dirty and old. You know, you have to go through and you have to clean your filter, and you have to be open and willing to unlearn some things that you've learned before, and you have to be willing to learn some new things. And you also have to understand that it's more to learn than just what somebody taught you, right? Like when I was going through my apprenticeship, one of my journeymen told me early in the apprenticeship, he said, look, he said, I can teach you a lot. He said, but I want you to go learn from a different journeyman. I want you to go learn from several different journeymen. He said, the reason being is I can tell you I can tell you everything that I've experienced, and I can tell you what worked for me. But you're going to be in situations that will work for me may not work. And if you're just only used to what worked for me, when you get in that situation to where that doesn't work, you're not going to know what to do. You're going to be stuck. Yeah. But if you learn something what works for this other person, then some works for this other person, now you have different tools in your tool bag. So if you get to a point that whatever that you're used to doing that I taught you doesn't work, now you can say, okay, well, this doesn't work, but I remember what this guy told me, and I remember what this other guy told me, and this may work in this situation. So it's like adding different tools to your tool bag.
It is, and I think that's important. So one of my friends texted me, and she said, can you share resources for those that are not sure how to communicate? She said, you guys talk a lot about communication, but sometimes people truly don't know how. I think that the first resource I can give you is the awareness that it's not something you were born with. It's not an ability you were born with. How to communicate. You learn how to talk, but communication is a skill set. And so one of the things that I've learned, they have courses online on YouTube, all based on communication. Mm-hmm. What is the art of communication? If you want to practice public speaking. I can't remember the name of that program that my mom had me in. Toastmasters.
I've done that too.
It's about public speaking, but it's heavy on conveying information to an audience, presentation style, which is a lot like having a conversation with someone about intimate matters. Not so much a presentation style, but how to form a complete thought without it being 20 minutes, knowing that a person's attention span is only 1 minute. How to say what you mean and mean what you say, and make sure that the point of what you're saying is clear, and what fluff you need to actually remove from it so that it doesn't become clouded and disturbed in your communication. How to not and like how to really prepare to have a conversation. If you want to do everything freestyle, a lot of it's going to get lost in interpretation, because preparation is key for conveying a point or bringing a point across. What we do on this show is freestyle. We don't really know what we're going to talk about before we come on here, but the more you do it, the better you get at it. If there's a specific conversation that you're trying to have, I learned in a workshop once, you want to practice that conversation with multiple people and get honest feedback. They'll and be open to that criticism that says, yo, like that was, it didn't take 30 minutes for you to say that.
Right.
Another thing you want to do when you're communicating is look at the person you're communicating with. Think about how many points you just made. Like me right now, I probably made like 7 or 8 points. If I was talking directly to Dub, I should have stopped a long time ago. Right now, I'm just spilling information out to my friend who asked it. But at some point, I need to say, okay, I made 2 or 3 points. You following me? You tracking me? You got any questions? Before I just go on this long TED talk. And so those would just be some of the tips that I would share, but definitely look into Toastmasters or something like it to work on public speaking, because that can be a great tool in helping you communicate with people.
One thing that I've also learned from Toastmasters is sometimes it's okay to not respond right away. Sometimes it's okay to take a second and think about your response so you can avoid the ahs and ums and things like that, just extra filler words. It gets rid of those filler words. One thing I can say about communication that's very important is learning how to listen. Communication is not always just what you're saying and how to convey it to somebody. Sometimes the most important part of communication is listening, and listening with the intent to understand, and not just listening or hearing, because there's a difference between hearing and listening. So I believe that it's very important to understand how to listen with the intent to understand, versus just waiting for somebody to say one thing that you disagree with or that sparks something, and now all you're waiting for is your chance for a rebuttal. Sometimes having these conversations with people, sometimes you have a conversation with a person and they say something that sparks in you, and after that point, you're no longer listening to what they're trying to convey to you, because you're waiting for an opening to say whatever it is that you want to say. So everything else is completely just going out of the window. One thing that I find for me that works, even if you have to get a pen and paper so you don't interrupt that person, that's a good idea. But what I also found was very good for me is if you're having a conversation with someone, especially if it's a passionate conversation, try your best to, when that person is speaking, be quiet, take your feelings completely out of the picture, so you can have a chance to honestly listen and hear what that person is saying. And then when it's your turn to talk, the other person does the same thing. Be quiet, take their feelings completely out of the picture, because sometimes you can try to express yourself, but when you're so emotionally driven and your feelings are just so drawn up, when that person is trying to convey something to you, you're not really paying attention to what they're saying, because all you're waiting for is to try to tell them how you feel. And if all you guys are both trying to do is just tell each person how you feeling without being able to receive what that other person is saying, it's like you're not really getting anywhere.
I would say this, man, even with that whole part, I have to learn to be honest with myself. Some parts of conversations get me emotionally riled up, and I can't put them in a box and take them away. I have to be honest, like, yo, this is getting the best of me. I need to pause right now.
Mm-hmm.
Being honest, like, not forcing yourself to try to act like you're listening when you know that I've had to end conversations and say, let's come back to this later. You know what I'm saying to you? Because I'm in the play. You said something that triggered me, and I need a minute, and I need to come back because I'm on some other stuff right now, and it's okay. It's actually really healthy for the relationship and for yourself to know when you've reached your limit in a conversation. Some people I've met are extremely challenging to communicate with because our styles are so different, or they're aggressive. I remember I dated this Russian girl once, bruh. Her telling me that she liked me, I thought she wanted to fight. It was just like she was just like the way she conveyed it was so probably really soft for a Russian girl, but for me, American, I'm like, can you say that a little nicer, a little more romantic? Like, and sometimes you just your language is so different, so it does help to be patient, like you said, even like Portia said, listening and being patient, but also being real with yourself about when you've reached your limit and what's really working for you and what isn't.
I feel like also if you have an issue with somebody, I feel like it's a good idea to when calm heads are there. I feel like it's a good idea to have a conversation of the issues that you're having, not wait for that other person to bring up an issue and then now it's your turn to go tit for tat and it's like, well, I feel like this and blah blah blah. And you've been doing all this all the time, so it's like, when were you going to tell me this? So it's like now you're waiting for me to bring up an issue to you that I have with you for you to come back, and now it's like you're trying to combat. It's like, this is not the time to combat. This is not the time to fight. I'm bringing up an issue that I feel like something is going on. If you have an issue with me, tell me when that issue arises. Don't wait and store things up till when I finally tell you that I have an issue. And then now it's like, now we're going to war because, oh, well, you have an issue. Now I have this issue, blah, blah, blah. Because at that point in time, I feel like my issue is not getting dealt with because now all you're trying to do is go tit for tat and tell me about the issues that you have with me.
That's where I find myself often, because like I said earlier, because I be avoiding conversations, I'm like, man, it's not worth it. I don't really care. And then the person still tried to talk, and I'm like, okay, well, I got all this stuff that I need to say to you that I haven't said because I was just willing to watch the whole relationship. So that, again, that's something I need to work on. It's even when I think about it, it's still challenging to bring it up on the spot. Cause there's something about being in an emotionally heavy conversation that it pulls at my soul. And I know that I'm trying to work on it, but even the thought of it is just like, I won't even answer certain people's phone calls because I'm like, this is about to be heavy, even if it's not about us. It's just something about heaviness. And I feel like, I feel in my feelings, I don't know if I believe it, but my feelings, like there's so many heavy things that I have to navigate through life already. Like I just be looking for ease. I'd be looking for those easy conversations, people that get me. And, that's not a sin. It's not a bad thing. But I do want to add this, bro, for this conversation purpose. The definition of communication is the exchange of information. The exchange of information. Information and implications are not the same thing. And that's why we need to learn how to communicate so we can give information, not implications. We want people to understand what we imply, but that makes it hella challenging. That's why we should work on the skill set of communication and using our words as tools to build bridges between each other. Because if not, what are we really doing, man?
And so that's why
I want to tell you real quick, bro. Time has gotten away from us. It's almost 10. It says 9:59. I do want us to put one more video up, but only if you're good with it, or we can shut it down now.
Go for it. All
right. Out there in the audience, man, y'all got time? Y'all want to stay with us? I know it's towards the end of the year. We're trying to add a little more value. If y'all want a few more minutes of this, at least give us a thumbs up or keep going or something. Hashtag why you stop. That's what she said. Put that in the chat and so we can know that you want us to keep going. All right, y'all ready for this video, man? Let's see if we get anything. Okay, we got thumbs up. Midnight here, but I'm good. That's how you ride or die, Ali. Ride or die, Ali. Okay. Oh shoot, look at that. Okay, Russell, keep going. Go on, my brothers. Look, go. Okay, see now we got it. We can go for another 3 hours. Go get a Red Bull and turn on some slow jams. All right, no. So check this out, bro. This is something. I wish Mike was on the show tonight because he loves I Love Lucy. And so if you haven't watched it, there's this movie called Being the Ricardos. Because I loved I Love Lucy. You need to watch this. I'm only halfway through it, but I snagged a snippet from the show, and I wanted us to talk about it. So tell me what you think about this, bro.
Hi. Sorry, I need to use the phone to call my fiance.
Sure. Wait, what?
It'll just take a second.
Your fiance?
Outside line, please.
But I haven't. It's just that I come to San Antonio.
1 sec.
Yeah. Last night I filmed.
It's me. Hey. You don't love me and I don't love you, and you cheat on me every chance you can get, and I pretend I'm stupid, so I'm moving out. I'll send someone to pick up my clothes, okay? Love you, but not really. I interrupted you. What were you saying?
And we saved the.
I love you, but not
I
really.
was about to say that's the part that stuck out with me. That is the part that stuck out for me. I love you, but no, not really.
You know, it's one of the things. It's one of the things we just say. But have you ever been in a situation you knew you need to get out of, and you just didn't know how to do it? I think that sometimes we overthink the how to and underthink. I just need to get out.
Hey, one thing that I will tell you, I do not say I love you just to say it. So
We know, bro.
yeah.
We know.
But yeah, sometimes it's situations where you just need to get out, you need to run, you need to just sometimes you don't know how to get out of situations though, really, man. Sometimes it's situations where you
Explain that, man. How do you not know how?
Man, I feel like sometimes it's situations that you know you need to get out of, but you just don't know how to do it. You know, some situations, sometimes people can be good to you, but you know you need to get out that situation, but you just don't know how because that person is good to you. You know, or sometimes it's just like the people is not so good for you, but you just feeling a certain way. You know, you feel a certain way about that person, but you know that person is not good to you, is not good for you, but you just don't know how to get out. Or sometimes it could be convenient. Sometimes it could be length of time that you've known each other. Sometimes it could be a bunch of things. Sometimes you can love somebody, but not in that way. And sometimes it just makes it a little difficult to get out of situations like without just running because some relationships you still want to hold on to, but they may, you know, it's like your coliseum or your stadium. You know what I'm saying? Like you have everybody as your star basketball players, but you don't want to just fire them, but you just want to move them to a different position. Say, hey, you know what? You don't really belong as my star basketball player, but I really need some janitors, and you would really fit that position. You know, I need some executives. I'm saying, bro.
Yo, we got to give him backstory. Me and Arrow was having this conversation about women that we would find interesting. This was years ago.
Yeah.
Women you're interested in, right? And you want to date and whatnot, and you realize that the dating thing won't work. So then they just become a sex buddy. It's like, whatever. I don't care what happens to you. We'll hook up whenever I hook up. And we had a conversation. It was like, yo, just because someone is not a good romantic partner doesn't mean that they don't serve some other purpose in your life. It can't just be romantic partner or, you know, sex buddy or stranger. Like we have to understand that sometimes we misplace people because we're sexually attracted to them or physically attracted to them, or they got good conversation. We assume, they should be a partner. It's nothing wrong with repurposing people in your life when you realize that they don't belong in that place. And we do need janitors. We need people to run the mail. We need people to help remove the trash. And it's nothing wrong. Some people are really good at that. I can be that. You know, I can't be everybody's boyfriend. So for some people, I am going to be the janitor. I've gotten...
Why are people saying janitor like it's a bad thing? Like janitor can make a cool salary. You see, you know what? Listen. People, because it's the title, people just assuming
call it something different. Waste management.
Man, fuck that. We're gonna call it janitor, right? So look, janitor. What if you say, okay, you know what? Because you're so good, and because this stadium is so big, I'm gonna still pay you $100,000 a year. I bet you that janitor title wouldn't hurt so much then, would it?
Wow. You know what? You still get access. You still in the community. You still work for the company. You're still a part of the movement. But we can't move forward with you in this position. Like
right.
This is the thing I had a conversation with myself with years ago, and I had a conversation with one of my relatives with Thanksgiving break. And they kept telling me, I don't know what to do. And I looked at them in their eyes and I said, yeah, you do. And I learned this from I want to call her psychotherapist. I forgot what she was, but she worked in my old job. Mm-hmm. And she said that we always know what to do and how to do it. We just overcomplicate it because we weren't wondering how people are going to interpret us doing it. And I looked at him and I said, you know exactly what you need to do. And you know exactly how to do it. But you're questioning what you know. And so we had to have a conversation about not what do I do, not how do I do, but why am I scared to do what I know I should do? Why am I scared to do what I know how to do? And I think that that's where we have to first remove that cloak of lies that I don't know how to get out of this. Yeah, you do. the first way you can get out of it is, what advice would you give somebody else who was in it? Oh, now you're full of suggestions. But it feels this way. See, when you start saying, but I feel this way, but all that is valid, but it doesn't negate the point that you know exactly how to end it, how to get out of it. And that's the part that we have to sit with. And when I'm sitting with my clients who tell me the same thing, I don't even challenge them. I ask them a simple question. What's at stake if you don't change this? And once I start thinking about what's at stake, if I don't do what I know how to do, all of a sudden I find the motivation and clarity to do it. What's really at stake? If you continue this another day, because only what you allow will continue, only what you allow will continue. If you continue this way, what are you going to continue to miss out on also? What are you going to continue to forfeit?
You know, I think sometimes it's like the fear of the unknown. It's like the fear of, if you still want that person, just like how you were talking about, you know, earlier about if you should say something, if you should have a conversation based on, you know, if you want that person in your life anymore. And I feel like sometimes having those conversations, like if you want that person in your life in a different capacity, it may be a fear that that person wouldn't even want to be in your life anymore.
That's true.
So, you know, I think that could possibly weigh heavy on your determination of if I should leave, if I should say something at this particular point. Maybe you may be trying to wait for a smoother transition.
For what?
A smoother transition.
What is that?
Maybe an easier way to make it just like, okay, you know what? Let this happen amicably instead of me just cutting the head off and just say, you know what? Give me back your keys to these because you don't. You're no longer going to have access to this area.
Do you wait to get gas when your car starts to sputter, or you see the tank? Okay,
absolutely not.
When you said wait for I hear an excuse. Wait for an easier pass, or wait for the, you know, I know I'm the kind of person who like, okay, I'm gonna wait for the moment to arise if I feel led to do that. But I don't think that's always the best practice, because again, what is at stake in the meantime? Because the longer you stay where you don't belong, the more you miss out on the benefit of being where you do belong.
Right. But that's also even just having a much needed conversation. Like you said, you hold certain things in sometimes. You know, that's also the same thing. You know what I mean? What's at stake? Like, what's at stake? Are you more worried about the other person? Or are you worried about the baggage that you're holding on to? Which is, you know, I think about it in the same aspect. Like, okay, I'm thinking about the relationship with this person that I may want to hold on to. And it may be, like I said, it may be a fear of losing out on that person, because if I say something, that person's going to automatically retreat and not going to want to be a part of my life, period.
And you leave room for, look, man, Portia just kind of said what I was feeling in my heart. She said, it takes maturity to understand that and execute with love. You won't be everyone's superstar, and that's okay. And if you love someone truly, or even a little bit, you can give them the room to find the person that can be their superstar, and leave room for you to find yours. It's all okay. Life is short, but will be exactly as it should be. See, this is a part that I tend to lean into, that makes me feel like it's all as it should be. It's fine. I don't always feel immediately like I need to invest. Some things have a way of working themselves out. I think that I have what I do have, though, is a responsibility to me. I told my circle, and I told my people outside of my circle, while I'm in therapy, the therapist has me on a journey back to myself. And I told people it's going to get weird around here. It's going to get weird. Not only did I start a full-time job when I'm used to being an entrepreneur, I'm also on this journey back to me. So I know that I'm occurring real differently to people, but I gave people fair warning. Now, if I'm going to stay true to my therapy and to my commitment and get my journey back to me, I can't over obsess with how people are going to be interpreting this. I can't just be focused on holding space for other people. I got to hold space for me, the child inside of me, the hopes and dreams inside of me as well, and hope that people around me are mature enough to hold space for themselves and hold down their own interpretations and their own insecurities.
Okay, so with that being the case, what if you damage some potentially good relationships for you because you're so worried about being true to yourself, when at the end of the day, even when you find yourself, you go back to realize, like, damn, I didn't have to do it that way, and I damaged some really good relationships for me because I was just so focused on just being true to myself that I was so worried about, okay, well, this is me and this is I'm being true to myself, so fuck you right now. And you kind of be harsh to people and dismiss some people that was really good for you, that was really there for you in your life. But because of the harshness, because you were trying to be so true to yourself, you damaged potential relationships that you needed or that should have been there for you.
So here's what I learned from one of my mentors. If you get stuck in the what if, you're not going to live your life.
Absolutely.
What ifs are all around us. What if I do that? Well, what if that happens? Here's the thing. If I choose to be harsh, if it's in me to be harsh with people while I'm on my path to finding myself, I need to see the consequences of that behavior so I can change it. If it's in me, the only way I'll know is by living life authentically. When I say I'm being authentic, it doesn't mean I'm doing everything right. I'm just being honest. I'm being real with myself. And when I see some of the things that come out of me, I'm like, damn. When I have to live with the consequences of things that I've caused, that's what changes me for the better. That's what motivates me to change for the better. I see the fruit that I bore because I decided I needed to be harsh. I decided that I needed to neglect this, or I needed to be rough, or I need to be this way. When I see what that did to my life, that's what actually motivates me to be a better man. And so that's why I say, we said it the last time on the last episode, I don't want to control you. Do what you do, because that's not only going to show me, it's going to show you who you are. And then from there, I've messed over plenty of relationships. That's why I've made the adjustments and changes that I've made, because I saw what that behavior produced.
You know, that reminded me of what this all made me think of. I was watching Bad Boys for Life today, and I watched it several times. But it made me think about a scene where Will Smith was talking to Martin, and he was just like, "Look, man, I need you to do this." And he's just like, "No, I'm not gonna do this." And he's just like, "Dude, you don't have my back." And he's like, "Dude, how dare you say that? Like, I wiped the drool off your chin when, you know what I'm saying, when I didn't even know if you were gonna be here." Yeah. You know, so it reminds me of that, because it's just like sometimes you go through these, you have this journey in life with people, right? And you're there for them, and then when they need something, or when they're going through some life hacks and trying to figure out something, sometimes all they're thinking about is just these life hacks, and they don't even recall the bond and the relationship that you have with them and the stuff that you've done for them. All they're thinking about is just the position that they're in at that particular time. And sometimes just thinking about the position that you can be in at that very particular time, you tend to forget everything else, because you just worried about, okay, I just need to fix myself. I just need to heal. I just need to get back. I just need this get back. Yeah. But I believe that even when it comes to that, like, you can't forget about the history that you have with someone, especially if it's a great history. Like, it's one thing about telling somebody, hey, you know what? I just need to separate myself because I need to do this for me. You know what I'm saying? I need to figure some stuff out. That's great. But when you just have like no regard for the people who's been there for you, because now it's just about, oh, I need to fix me. And now the attack becomes so disrespectful and it's so offensive, where you start to forget about the history that you had with that person, because now all you're doing is just focusing yourself. That's when it becomes bad, and that's when it becomes hurtful, and that's when it's like how dare you? Like, I've been there through all this. How dare you?
And that goes back to the fact that people don't experience friendships the same. There have been people who wondered how I could walk away from them, and they're like, dude, how could you walk away from this friendship? Honestly, they benefited from it way more than I did. Right. Because they were experiencing me being vulnerable, me being honest, me giving access, me telling everything, and they were sitting back eating it up. But they weren't contributing that same thing. So I wasn't having the same relationship they were. It was easy for me to walk away from it because it wasn't feeding me. It was heavily one-sided. And so when you talk about people not having a regard, how do you develop a regard? You got to see what happens when you have no regard, to recognize like, yo, I need to fix that character trait about myself. Right. Somebody texted me and just said, those that love you will love you through your journey. There's maturity in that. Listen, my therapy session last week, I told him that I've gotten a few phone calls from people saying like, what happened? What did I do wrong? Like, why haven't you communicated? Why haven't you reached back out? Why this? I've told people I had a new job, new schedule. And he said, what's going to happen is that on this journey to yourself, which again, the reason why am I on this journey back to myself? Because life you don't start to live life until you find your way back to you. That's kind of how he explained it to me. I really want to live this life out, but I got to get back to me. I've abandoned myself at a young age. And so we're working on that. He said that there are certain people who are, their insecurity is going to rise up. They feel insecure in their relationship with you. So they're going to have a lot of questions and wonders and concerns. What did I do? What happened? How can you be like this? And then there's people who he said are secure in their relationship with you, that no matter where you go next, you every time you see them, you guys can pick up where you left off. Right. And he said it's not your responsibility to manage their security or insecurity in that relationship. Continue to be authentic. Right. And like my friend just texted me and said, those who love you, and it's not, this goes back, not just those who want to love me physically or love me emotionally, but those who have taken time to learn how to love me, to learn how to love in general. That's another skill set that we don't innately know how to do. People who've taken time to, I've sat with all of you guys, hugged you and held you while you guys were crying. And so if I'm going through something and that's not reciprocated, it's okay. But don't be mad and don't blame me for not, putting the rest of the accoutrement on it when I'm actually on this journey that everybody has to take at some point in time in their life. Right. Right. And so that's all I'm saying. It's like we need these moments to expose us who we really are. And we can't worry too heavily about how it's going to affect that other person, because people can surprise you. Right. I think that me and you pulled my card a few months ago about something I did to you a while ago. You know what I'm saying to you? And I got a chance to apologize for it, but that's how we learn. That's how we grow.
Okay.
Yeah.
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 All right, let's look at these comments and let's get offline, man. We've been on here for a minute, man. What Portia said? Portia said it will still be fine. That's all I want to read. It will still be fine. Without fear, you are better now. If you learn from that, you've won, and God can always send another. It's something about having this philosophy that it's all gonna work out. And it's not just optimism. Sometimes it's scripturally based or whatever it is that comes for you, man. When you hang out with people or you're in relationship with people who have that kind of personality, arguments don't even, when you guys disagree, you don't even have to argue. Right. You know what I'm saying? When time passed between each other, you guys pick up right where you left off. Like difficult moments don't linger on because they have this approach to life. Like, hey, it's all good. It's all gonna work out. People who are trying to use your relationship to heal an old relationship, it's always gonna be an issue.
Right. I agree.
Forgive yourself, Errol, Kifo, Cutley, and move on. If that person is meant to be in your life, they will return when they are supposed to.
I have the easiest time, and this is a bad thing, and I'm trying to fix it. But I have the easiest time saying, all right, nigga, I'm gone. It's like I said, I'm having that thing to where, I'm learning how not to detach so easy, because it's so easy for me to detach. And you know what I'm saying? It's just, it's so easy for me to detach because I'm so used to doing everything by myself, and I'm so used to feeling alone. You know what I'm saying? Even being around people, I'm just so used to feeling alone. And I'm so used to seeing a lot that people have that I've never gotten a chance to experience, So it's just, with that being the case, it allows me to just say, okay, you know what? It is what it is. I'm still going to keep pushing forward no matter what. So I'm learning not to just detach and to open up, and I'm good.
And while you're learning to not detach so easily, I'm learning to detach more. It's like, it's finding that balance, man. Like my therapist told me the other day, he said, you ain't got to solve everybody's problem. Like he said, and like it goes back to maybe like a week or two ago, I was mad at certain people, but I recognized that I played myself because I got involved in something that wasn't none of my business. And I needed to get in the mirror and say, there you go again. You found a different way to put that cape on. You found a different way to try to be Jesus Jr. You found a different way to try to solve a problem and pick a project out of somebody. Mind your business.
Yeah.
My peace requires me to mind my business. My sanity requires me to mind my business. My success, my prosperity, my legacy that I want to live out requires me to keep my mind on my business, the business that God has called me to, man.
It's crazy that you say that. I'll just say this before we wrap it up.
Yeah.
But I'll say this. What you just said is so important because I've been at the point to where I'm no longer just trying to give my opinion if it's not asked for. You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to give my opinion. You know what I mean? Unless it's warranted, like somebody solicit my opinion. I'm not trying to give my opinion because me having my opinion and me trying to give my input in some situations, it just turned out to be the wrong thing. Like, dude, why did I even say anything? Now I'm getting into it with this person based off of an opinion, and a lot of times the opinion can be about a hypothetical situation, something that ain't never even happened. But it's
Yeah.
just something that happened, and now it's like, okay, well, I'm giving my opinion on it. It's like, dude, now we sitting up here arguing about an opinion based on a hypothetical situation. And it's like, you know what? At this point, that has something to do with you, and that has something to do with your family. And that has to do something with your situation. So it doesn't matter, even if I have some wisdom in this situation. I'm not even going to give you my opinion unless my opinion is solicited.
Listen, we gon' too many people chimed in on that. Big bro came through and said, "I feel you on that." Talking about just minding your business piece. Even Amber was like, "You're not alone on that." The other sis came through and said, "I know that's right, brother." She as well. Like the hashtag for the night needs to be mind your business. Mind your business, man. Mind your business. I'm telling you,
Yeah.
it's really saving me. It's really saving me. So stop playing yourself. Mind your business. The way we like to end out every show, ladies and gentlemen, is by giving you guys a resource number. Maybe something that we said tonight was helpful. Maybe it made you want to be more proactive in getting healed or getting making peace with things that you've given up in your life, or just doing the self work that we always talk about. We want to give you this number. It's called the Access Line. The number is 1-800-854-7771. 1-800-854-7771 is the Access Line, 24-hour mental health support. You can get connected with a support group, a therapist, a counselor, maybe even talk to someone live on the phone right then and there that can help you navigate some of the thoughts you're having. Or if you know someone who's struggling and you don't know how to approach them and you don't want to come at them the wrong way and make it worse, you can call 1-800-854-7771 to get guidance on how to approach someone who may be struggling with depression. So yeah, we just wanted to leave you guys with that before we get out of here tonight. Bro, any any profound final words? As Ken just Kenny just said, the silence is golden.
Man,
Sometimes any final words for the people, man?
you know what, man? I just want to say thank you guys for your patience and just staying with us. We 24 minutes over, but you guys are still rocking with us. And, we just want to appreciate this. Just like, the title of the show, maybe this will help. It's not just helping you guys, it's helping us also. Sometimes just having these conversations and just being able to hear insight and different perspectives is good for all of us. So, maybe this will help you guys. Maybe this will help us. I just want to say, it's definitely appreciated, the love and the support that you give us. You guys that are here, week in and week out, we just really definitely appreciate it. And I just want to say thank you.
Amen. If anybody wants this diagram we put up earlier, they want to understand better how they process life. Again, you can shoot me a direct message on Instagram. Go to Donovan D. Donnell on Instagram, and I'll make sure I get that diagram over to you. And remember, we need practical application of this stuff. Something that was said tonight. Go find a book or go join a workshop on communication. It's a skill set. Read a book on truly how to love. Dude, how-to books are great. How-to workshops are great because these things aren't innate, how to do these things. So we hope something that was said tonight was helpful. Dub, you want to pray us out?
Let's go.
Let's do it.
Heavenly Father, most precious King, we come before you, Father God, once again. Thank you, Lord God, for just being here, Father God. Just thank you for the opportunity to breathe and love and laugh, Father God. We thank you for the opportunity to host this show, Lord God. Just being vessels, Father God, and also being open to hear what you're saying to us as well, Father God. We ask that you just, Holy Spirit, just go before us, lead us, guide us, direct our path, order our steps in the name of Jesus, Father God. You know what we have before us, and we thank you that you had a plan and a purpose to prosper us and not to harm us, Father God. We ask that you please camp your ministering and protective angels around us, protect us, let no hurt, harm, or danger come near us. We ask, Father God, that you please forgive us from any and everything that's not pleasing to you, Father God, any sin known and unknown, any sin that we may have said in our mind, we may have thought of. In the name of Jesus, Father God, we ask that you just heal us from the crown of our head to the soles of our feet. Anyone who's not feeling well, Father God, any sickness, infirmity that we may be battling right now, Father God, you told us that we have the power to heal the sick and cast out demons, Father God. So we thank you. We declare and we decree that we all healed, healthy, blessed, and prosperous, Father God. In the name of Jesus, healed from mentally issues, healed from physically, emotional issues, Father God. We are healed, healthy, blessed, and prosperous. Father God, we thank you that you are going before us to lead us, to guide us, direct our path. In your precious Son, Jesus' name, we pray. Amen.
Amen. We love y'all. We see you next week. We're going to be here. Hope y'all will too. Don't forget, share this with your friends. Share this link. Reshare it on your page. Tag somebody. We love y'all.
Maybe this will help. Will this help you?
Don't forget the maybe, baby. Don't forget
Hey,
the
listen.
maybe, baby.
All I'm saying is we need to get the studio.
It's showtime.
Welcome to another episode of Maybe This Will Help.